try next week.
Yeah.
These don't seem to be too important, big news weeks.
No, the news is definitely a little slow. So, all right. It says we're live. I've got a feed up on the other monitor up there. So I'm gonna run with it. I think we are live.
Oh, I didn't even have it up.
Is that a common problem? Welcome everyone to Talking Heads, your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to episode 128, everyone. The nice round number. I guess you can kind of call this an anniversary show.
Is this?
Well, it's 128.
Oh.
It's about as round a number as I know.
There we go. We don't need it.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. Glad you could join us on this Wednesday night. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for showing up. If you haven't seen the show before, the way it works is we do about 20 minutes of beer news or alcohol-related news. We do about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes worth of tech, and then we jump into pop culture or games or entertainment or whatever interests us. Today is going to be a little bit of a different show. We are going to go a little bit shorter on the tech news because there's just not a lot to talk about these days with, the whole quarantine and shelter in place for pretty much everyone, especially in the U.S., but pretty much globally at this point. So tech news probably only going to take us about 30 to 40 minutes to get through. If you have not seen episode 10 of Picard, you will probably only want to watch the first 60 minutes of this show because the second half of the show, we are going to do a Star Trek Picard review and spoiler cast because that's what John and I really want to talk about.
We talk about the important things.
That's right. We do drink alcohol on the show. However, we do keep the content friendly in both language and content. So we try to keep this an all ages show, except for my joke right there at the beginning. So just ignore that. It'll be clean from here on out, I promise.
Till we get to Picard.
Till we get to Picard, then all bets are off. Right. Let's see. Let's start with, I guess, John. What are you going to drink tonight?
I don't know. I haven't even, gone to my fridge yet and taken a look of what's in there. I was gonna kind of base it off of whatever you were gonna be drinking.
That's why I asked you first, because I don't know either.
Now because I got in that trap. All right, I'll go grab something.
Okay. Din 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 din. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can.
All right.
No, you can't.
There we go.
Ooh.
I got double IPA.
All right.
I have, okay, you want to do this? Age Ret Theories. What was it called? We interrupt this program. So double IPA. What is it? 8%.
8%. Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. All right. Why don't we see your pour, and then I'll go ahead and go to my fridge. Okay. So you have the con for the second.
All right. I think I'm gonna go try. I don't know if anyone can see my handy dandy cool glass right there. Oh yeah, custom glassware for me, not for Jeff. And let's get that sexy pour going. Oh yeah. So go ahead if you are drinking anything in the chat. Go ahead and take a look, type it down. We'll give you a shout out right now.
It's a good pour, John.
Yeah, look at that glass right there, custom made.
Yeah. It looks like orange juice inside of it.
It actually does, even from this angle, like this close. It's thick.
It's like a heady orange juice.
It smells like grapefruit juice. Oh, that's good. That is like grapefruit juice.
Awesome. All right. Well, since you went double IPA, I decided to join you, and you're a little bit cloudy over there, so I figured I'd go the same route. We're going to go with a Treehouse Brewing Haze.
Oh, that's a good beer.
Yeah. 8.2% double IPA, Treehouse Brewing, Massachusetts.
Who gave you Treehouse?
I have connections.
Yeah,
I have connections. All right. Boy, on the pour, it kind of looks like lemonade. It's definitely thick.
Yeah. Jeff doing a high pour.
That's right. Boom. Now that's a pour, John.
That's a good looking pour.
That's a pour right there.
Uh-huh.
All right. Definitely a lighter color than your beer. Like I said, it's more of a lemonade-y kind of color, but thick.
Yeah, mine definitely looks like orange juice. Even on my end, it looks like orange juice.
Yeah. You know those beer, like the really heavy stouts that you get that pour like motor oil? This was not far behind that.
Oh, yeah.
It touched the surface of it, and there was no splash or anything. It just kind of sunk. Yeah, it poured like syrup, where it goes into itself instead of pouring on top of itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's, it's got a good thick body.
Oh, that is... This is probably a hazy that kind of pushes my limits, because I enjoy a good hazy, but this one is... you can already smell the lactose on it. Oh, wow. Oh. Very hop forward. It's thick bodied, but light and playful all at the same time. A little bit of a flowery kind of taste, a little floral note to it. Not a lot of citrus. Like, there's a lot of citrus on the nose, but the flavor is super... Like you can feel like weight on your tongue. It's not a thin beer, but the flavor is very light and kind of playful, and
it's probably a lot of oat then.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying that mine is coming. My stream is coming in really chintzy.
You're a little pixelated.
Okay, let me go check my network. Hang on. I might. Yeah, it looks like I got a stronger network here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch networks. I might drop out.
Okay.
All right. Am I going to have to reconnect?
Yeah, we can reconnect if we need. So you're just on Discord. Not a big deal. Yeah, there he dropped.
There we go. Am I still on?
Yeah, I think, your video's back now.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that looks better.
All right, cool.
Well, you did for a second. It's still kind of choppy, but audio is good. So.
All right, well, that's all that matters. I got full bars, so...
Coming to you from a garbled subspace transmission, it's Hops and Brews.
Curious, what am I getting? I mean, it should be fine. Oh, hang on. That's just down.
This is a hazy that I like. Oh.
Yeah, that's a pretty light-looking hazy, though.
Yeah. Well, for a beer called Haze, I expect it to be kind of hazy.
Yeah. No, mine is... definitely acid burning.
Yeah. The burn is coming. I can feel it already building just a little bit.
I'm getting 14 up, so...
Okay. Yeah, you should be fine.
I should be fine.
I'm sending 14 and a half up, and I haven't dropped a frame yet.
You just dropped out right there for me.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if Discord's having issues. Oh, and John dropped completely out. Uh-oh. Hello, John. John. Yeah. It's a great freeze frame. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, you're back. You dropped completely out for a good 7 seconds.
Oh, that was weird. Oh, yeah, you dropped out of mine. It was weird because.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whatever.
Whatever. We'll go with it.
We had a couple super chats.
Yes.
Going on.
Regan Lyle, $2. John, may I have a sip? It's up to you. You can let him smell it. Just waft it. Yeah. There you go. That's for you, Regan.
$2 right there.
Not for you, Civil. Back up. God.
Shoot.
Grubby little... Novella Hub, Dethel Brewery, Funkin' Groovin', Tart North New England IPA. Also, thank you for the $2 donation. And Novella Hub, thank you for the Treehouse Haze. And Big yeah. And Big Spoon. Can I have a boop? We'll do a social distance boop to John. There you go. Boop. Mother. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into our first story here.
Okay. So we have, I'm assuming I'll be introducing this one.
Yep. That's a great freeze frame. Hold
I'm excited about this. PBR's on here before.
There you go.
PBR has been. Am I still there? Okay.
Yeah, you're
PBR
there.
has been expanding for a while now. They went to the PBR Extra, their imperial side. They went to a coffee side. They are now doing the hard seltzer.
They've got their whiskey.
And they got their whiskey. So I don't know really much more where they could go. Well, they found a way. They are going southern. They're going to be releasing a PBR hard peach tea. That's right, hard peach tea. And also, on top of that, it is only 100 calories.
Of course it is. John, always the diet-friendly beers with you.
Hey, this is a tea. This is a hard tea.
It's a hard tea.
Yeah.
It's a hard sale for me, too. That's what I'm going to come right out and say. That's a hard sale.
I mean, I don't know. I think peach is one of those flavors that probably can translate well into the artificial low-calorie stuff.
I do agree with that.
More so, I would say, than like strawberry. I think strawberry comes off as or cherry.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Yeah, you either get cough syrup or you get just artificial sugar.
Yeah, to where I think peach, you can get away with a lot more.
Yes, I do agree with that. Raspberry is another one you can kind of get away with a little bit without going too Splenda-y. And there's a couple others that are out there, but I think peach is probably a good place to start. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I hate iced tea. It is not my cup of tea, if you will. Like I love like hot tea. I love hot black tea and green tea and all kinds of different teas. But iced tea, I've just never been able to get behind.
I'm a huge iced tea fan. I like iced teas. Even I'll make some black iced teas. Mm-hmm. Those are pretty good. Actually, surprisingly, I usually always hate Splenda, but I'll do just sugar-free tea and then take a pint and just a single drop. And it's like, that's all I need. It's perfect. It's not super sweet, but it's just enough sweetness. But this one comes in. Taps is going to be coming in at 100 calories and 4%. And it actually got released last month. So back in March. So it's making its rounds now, but I'm betting it's slow just because of, everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And usually it takes a bit for these specialty paps to reach us on the West Coast.
Yeah. On the North Coast.
I meant to say Best Coast.
Yeah.
But no, I'll probably. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to buy one of these and bring it on the show. So.
No.
I'm wondering if it's carbonated though. I didn't see if it was carbonated or not.
I am curious about that as well, because I don't know how well the carbonation would go over, especially with like hardcore tea enthusiasts. You think down, Texas all through the southern belt there. There's not a lot of, there's a lot of tea drinkers down there, and I don't know that carbonation would lend well to that market.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. But now you said you're not a big tea fan. Now there is one tea.
I'm a tea fan. I'm not an iced tea fan.
You're not an iced tea fan. What do you like? Green tea.
I love green tea. I love black tea. I love tea that you get at Chinese restaurants. I love all kinds of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in the mornings I drink coffee. In the afternoon, if I want a hot beverage, it's tea. And so I do drink a lot of tea, but I just. You get some like Lipton iced tea out of the maker you have at home. I hate it. I can't stand it.
Well, then you probably won't like this other one as well.
I guarantee I won't.
Arizona, if we all know that really famous 23-ounce can for
99 cents.
That you can get basically anywhere. Well, guess what? They're coming out with their own hard Arizona green tea with ginseng and honey, which is actually my favorite one. And I can't wait for this one. This comes in at 5%, so a whole percent bigger.
See, this one I may try. This one I might try.
But I'm betting this one's flat.
Yeah, I'm betting this one's flat. But this one I may try. If you bring this one on the show, I will try it. If you bring the Pabst, you're drinking that by yourself. I'm going to make that crystal clear right now.
I mean, you'll have a sip.
I'll have a sip. Don't bring me a can. That's never going to happen. You're going to waste your money.
Oh, it's never a waste. It's never a waste. This is going to be interesting. I would really like to try it. I don't expect it to be at the 99-cent price point.
Right.
Unfortunately, though, there is some bad news. Currently, though, this is only slated to be in Canada right now. To be released in Canada.
Well,
so it's not saying it won't be released in the States or other places, but currently right now this is only planned on being released in Canada, and there's actually no official release date to it. Arizona Tea just basically confirmed this is going to be happening and coming out soon. So it'll be a hard green tea, ginseng, and honey. And it'll be available in the 23-ounce cans and the 12-ounce can. Or 355 milliliters, so it's not actually 12 ounces.
Sorry, so I was looking at chat going, hey, is chat saying anything about this? Like, does anyone agree with me or John? Can I bring, like, another talking point into this? And I'm looking at it, and Skull was the last one to comment, like, before the super chats. And I'm going, like, what the heck? And I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and nothing's refreshing. Well, apparently, like, YouTube chat just, like, broke on my screen.
Yeah, that happened to me Sunday when I did the live stream. Yeah. I had to actually, the only way it would work is I had to create a pop-out window. So it was so weird.
Yeah, so I just refreshed my live stream page, and it's back up now. But I went over to Restream to check, and yeah, all the chats are coming in just fine to Restream, so that was weird. LOL, love the mask hat ads. Yeah, I had to close an ad before I got over to the page because I completely forgot about it. Oh. Let's see. John's stream coming in pretty crappy tonight. Yeah, we know. Let's see. It got worse. No, it got a little better. You're coming through a little clearer now, I will say. Just don't move. Just don't move as fast. There you go. There you go. You know what? Don't talk either, because that'll help free up some bandwidth.
As long as I can just drink. Anyways, so Jeff. Yep, two. I'll take two. So we talked. Yeah, and you and Steve talked, and others talked about all the cool things breweries have been doing, and liquor stores, and basically just the community of making sure people still get their liquor through this whole event. And one of the things, even close to us in the Salem, Oregon area, are even local breweries are doing deliveries. Have you even tried partaking in any of this type of stuff?
I thought about, because there's a tap house that's right near me that is doing growler home deliveries. And so I was going to reach out to them and see if I can get a couple of growlers from them, because I wanted to try a couple things they had on tap. Yeah. So I might do that maybe for next week's show. I'll see if I can get a couple growlers here.
Yeah, there's actually even a couple cool breweries in Newport, Rusty Truck Brewing. They're actually giving away free beer.
Yeah, I did see that one.
If you even just sign up and just say, hey, we'll give you 2 64-ounce growler fills of these 3 or 4 beers. You pick one, pick your choice. Yeah. Sign up, and we'll give you 2 free growler fills. Just come pick it up, or we'll deliver it if you live in the coastal Newport area. Yep. Just because they had so much and they couldn't sell it, we'll just give it away for free, which I thought was really cool. But breweries are doing this all over the United States and actually all over the world.
Yeah.
But there's one brewery that's doing something actually particularly extremely special. It's interesting. How would you like to have your beer delivered by horse?
I am a fan. I am a fan of this.
And not just Shire horses on an old school carriage.
Yep. And for those who don't know, we're not talking about like the Clydesdales are bringing Budweiser to your door. Oh no, this is Samuel Smith Brewery is basically doing carriage-bound deliveries for beer.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Oh, it is. It's awesome. So they live in this tiny little town of Yorkshire, and Samuel Smith Brewery. It's a really old brewery and pub. I believe it's like made in the 1700s. They've always had these horses, and they've usually kept them around, and because the brewery's been open and everything, they've been able to run them and keep them going. And but because of the shutdown and everything like that, no one's coming to visit, no one's kind of coming to play with them and do stuff. They have to give them exercise. And so what they've decided to do is, well, we're just going to strap a carriage to them, and we're going to haul beer and deliver it to everyone by hand with these horses. So it's kind of a cool thing that the town gets to see, through their windows and everything, is this a horse-drawn carriage, basically. Old school, they're wearing like the old leather vests and hats, and they're all being protected. They're wearing gloves and making sure everything's sanitized, but it's really cool. They're dropping their beer off for all their followers and people who want their beer. I thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, and I love it when people go old school or play a character or get into the theme of something and go all in. What I hate is when it's something cheesy. This is, they're dressed the part, they're riding the era correct period correct horses, period correct carriage. They're delivering it in barrels and cracking the barrel open and pouring your growler right there. And as who was that? Like the Milkman, but for beer.
Yeah, essentially it is. It's really cool. Although
Right.
I then thought, like, who's cleaning up the poop on the street?
You know what? They probably have someone doing that. The old parade boys with the shovels.
Yeah. It's like, I'm essential. Yay. Man. So, I thought that was pretty cool. Now we've also talked about throughout this and other things, some of the bigger brands. You were saying it's not Budweiser, but sometimes they do some pretty cool, awesome things out there. There was like the football guy, who he caught the beer in the baseball. Sorry, I think he catched the home run.
Yeah,
and wore the Bud Light shirt, and he got a bunch of Budweiser.
Well, no, he was double fisting.
Double fisting, that's right.
Double
and he
fisting
his beer.
Yeah, and took it off the chest.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and then got the ball. And
that was pretty cool. There was the NFL when the players would chug someone's beer.
Yeah,
they would get free beer. So during this, again, lockdown, and people aren't able to get out and buy their beer, and especially some of the elderly. I mean, they're basically locked down even more. They're told, do not go anywhere. Literally, it's almost like jail in your house arrest. But there was one old sweet lady, 93 years old. She went pretty viral, and Coors Light
not viral the way that most people are going viral these days.
Yes. Brought bad choice of words.
She's fine. She's fine.
She's fine. She is fine. She's alive and well. But you might have seen this picture.
Demonetized.
I didn't say it. It's just viral. So, but there was a picture floating around, and you might have seen, of an old lady holding up a Coors Light can, and a sign says, "I need more beer." And it was actually a picture to her grandson who was going grocery shopping, and she always has a Coors Light before she goes to bed. One can of beer, and that she says it helps her relax. And I guess everyone has just been like, it's been blowing up, and people have been buying her beer left and right. Well, Molson Coors caught on to this, and they went and one of their reps personally delivered those 12 cases of Coors Light to her. So she will have, for the next 150 plus days, have Coors Light for her and not have to leave her home.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yes. I love stories like this. I love stories about a company seeing something fun or cool or interesting or a good story and making an even better story out of it. Yeah. Not just from like the humanity perspective, like that's really cool. Like Coors went out of their way to help this lady, but it's brilliant marketing. And I love seeing this kind of stuff because it's a win-win for everyone. Number one, she got the Coors she wanted. She got, a beer delivery and someone took notice of her and she's got her, her 15 minutes of fame out of this kind of thing. You've got Coors who goes, you know what? The world kind of needs like a rallying cry right now. Let's go help this old lady out. Let's get a local rep to go deliver her a couple of cases of beer. And
some pennies.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't cost them anything. And it's free marketing, but it's just cool when stuff like this happens. You know, it warms my heart in more ways than one.
It's not just the alcohol doing it either.
That's exactly right. It's not just the alcohol, although that doesn't hurt.
Well, there's really not much alcohol in Coors Light, though.
Right.
4. I mean, it was pretty close for my 100-calorie diet. It was like 102, so
it's legal to brew in Norway, so it's probably
Yeah. So let's see what's
legal
going
to
on
brew
here.
and legal to sell, like on store shelves. It's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm getting called out on chat or Discord.
Who's calling you out on Discord?
Oh no, I think it's just old. I'm just now seeing it. Yeah. Well, so people are saying that my network needs updating. And, I wouldn't mind that. And maybe when this is all done, Jeff can come over. We can splice some Ethernet cables and do some cool stuff all throughout my home network. Although he'd probably rather do a video of his house doing that. But, what we could do, we could implement ultra-fast networking into my house first. Because obviously everyone is demanding that my stream be better.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Jeff, what way could we upgrade my networking?
Well, you're in kind of like the worst case scenario for what I would consider home users to be in right now. Not worst case, but in a situation where you're trying to stream from a laptop out in your garage, your router's in your office, right?
Yep, so it's all the way at the other end of the house.
It's at the exact opposite end of the house. You're going through no less than 4, 5, 6 walls. One of them's an exterior wall.
Yep.
So you're getting through all of that. I guarantee you're not getting 5 gigahertz out in your garage.
Nope.
I guarantee you're on 2.4 because 5 gigahertz won't penetrate that far. It'll only go through about 2 walls. 2.4, you've got a shot. And so what you're going on right now is a shot. You've got a shot at your 2.4, and it's doing okay. It's not doing great, but it's doing okay. You've probably got, what would you have for a router? Because I know you're using a router and wireless point all in one kind of unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need a whole lot, so that's why.
Part of me wants to go Linksys, but I think you're Netgear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have... I know it's not AC because you're too cheap for that. It's 5 gigahertz N. I guarantee. Let me know when I'm wrong. Or I'll just keep going.
Oh, I honestly thought I was trying to transition into the next article.
Oh, right. No, I'm just having fun at this point.
I was like, okay, where's he going with this? It has nothing to do with the article.
No, I'm just flicking your crap at this point. No, what we would do is we'd probably upgrade your router to something that could sling a couple more packets through. Because I guarantee your wife's also streaming probably not 1 but 2 streams right now.
Yeah, there's probably some YouTube that we're streaming Chromecast into the TV.
I know her. You've got 2 streams going right now.
Probably.
Or she does.
On top of this.
Right, exactly. My camera just blacked out for a second. So you're already kind of taxing your Wi-Fi, and you're getting like the short end of the stick of the Wi-Fi that was already not great. So we could probably upgrade your router, have it sling a couple more packets, and we'll probably get you a better access point out to your garage. And hopefully get you some better Wi-Fi. Probably not going to happen by next week, but I could probably send you instructions on how to do it. You can crawl up in the attic so I don't have to.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I don't want to. Actually, you know what's so funny is I wonder if I could reach it, because I do have a TV in here, and I do have a wire strung all the way. So I could just go and hook that.
Yeah, I know there's a wire somewhere in your garage. Now, it's only 10100, but that's better than the 8 megs you're getting on Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we should probably put an access point like in your kitchen or living room or something like that. In the ceiling, nice ceiling mount, nice and low profile. But that'll get you enough signal out in your garage where you could do stuff like this.
Yes.
That's where I was going, and making fun of you at the same time.
Okay. Now, but would it be ultra fast?
It'd be gigabit, depending on what you had at the back end.
What if I want more than gigabit?
Well, we could probably go 10 gig. You can run 10 gig in distances that short over Cat 6A.
I want more. I want ultimate. What is ultimate?
Gosh, we could go 40 gig over. Couldn't do it over copper, but we could go 40 gig to your garage if we did dual fiber runs.
No. I want more.
We could bond those.
Money is no option here.
Okay, money's no option. We could go straight 100 gig.
I have a stimulus check burning up hole in my pocket.
Oh, in that case, money is no option. Okay, I didn't realize we were bringing the kids into this.
That's right.
Bringing the dependent stimulus check in.
Don't need to do that. We're good to go.
All right. So was yours deposited into your account? Your wife's deposited into hers, or is it just
all mine?
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear.
She doesn't even know it's there yet.
All right,
honey, it's coming in the mail, I swear.
Right. No, we get that on paper.
Yeah.
Oh, they must have forgot ours. Oh, no.
Oh, look, honey, there's an article saying it's delayed.
Right. Because someone wanted to put their own signature on it.
Yeah, it's a virus. There's bad coding.
Yeah. Anyway, so for those who don't know, you could go up to 100 gig in fiber. You could also jump that 100 gig up to 200 gig, 250 gig, and 400 gig. And that's pretty much where we've topped out now. But there's actually a new standard that has just been announced. They're calling it Terabit. It's not quite, but it's close enough that they're going to fudge it. And I wish they were only fudging that last 10% like has been traditional. Like gigabit Ethernet is actually 940 meg Ethernet.
Yeah.
And 100 meg internet is actually 91 meg internet. Like it's weird. Like there's theoretical and then there's actual overheads and what's delivered. So even 10 gig, you only get like 9.1 gig or second through or something like that. Anyway, so in the past, you could get up to 400 gigabit Ethernet over the standard Ethernet protocol. There's a new protocol, which is they're just going to call it Terabit, which again I disagree with because they're rounding up here.
Way rounding up.
800 gig per second, 800 gigabit per second, which is 100 gigabytes per second. That's how fast that is. 100 gigabytes per second Ethernet. As American says, ludicrous bit speed. Yes. So this is a very dramatic increase from where we have been. So apparently it's based on the 106.25 gigabit lanes that led us to 400 gigabit. And they're doubling the lane count from 4 lanes to 8 lanes. And so in 400 gig Ethernet, you've actually had 4 106 gigabit lanes. So they're doubling that. Now, traditionally, if you want to just put more throughput through, you can do what's called a bonded pair, or pairing of network interfaces. And so you could get, multi-terabit Ethernet has been a thing for a while over multiple fiber connections with switches on each end to kind of handle the ins and outs and then parsing everything back together. But you couldn't have a single stream that actually took up all of that bandwidth. You would max out on whatever the single channel was. Now you can actually have a single channel stream that does go up to 800 gigabit or 0.8 terabit per second, which is kind of a game changer. It's doubling what we've had before. WRT 54G is life. If you're still on a 54G, I really hope you're happy with like the 125 megabit Ethernet you're getting, like at max. Actually, no, it'd be 10100 because you're
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, you're opening another one? God, I'm only halfway through mine.
No. I plugged in my Ethernet cord.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was wondering what the heck you were doing. Hopefully that's better. Honestly, I think the problem may be on Discord's side.
Okay, because my upload's still the same. It's still at 12. My down's way higher, but my upload's still 12.
Right.
So.
Yeah, seeing you're pixelating out like crazy again. So, and we didn't have this problem a couple weeks ago. I think Discord is just having issues, and they were having issues for me earlier today too.
I'm at 100 down and 12 up. So. Don't know.
By the way, he's running a Cat 5 cable back to his office, not a Cat 5e, so he's at 100 meg speeds.
No. Is it? Yeah. No, it's Cat 6. That's what it says. But
if I put an Etherscope on that and I do a bandwidth check, you think I'll get gigabit speeds?
It's probably my
your router?
My splitter.
Yeah, that could be.
It's probably an older one. Yeah. I bet that's only 100 gig or 100 bit gigabit switch.
Yep. I doubt it's even gigabit because you're negotiating down to 100.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is, because what I did is I put a switch in my living room and just ran it up there and over and down.
Becky Pooh says Missouri, including the Kansas City area, is allowing curbside alcohol sales as long as they're sealed. So happy to get a pitcher of margaritas.
Yeah, there's been a couple of places that have been doing cocktails deliveries for sales, and a couple of places have been petitioning that, hey, everyone else is doing this. We need to be able to do this to stay afloat.
Right.
It seems to be that most states are starting to bend toward that, because it's just it's keeping some businesses open and some jobs still open and keeping people happy and at home, essentially.
Yeah, I'm getting 690 down. It's fading down to 500 now. 540 down. 540 down, and even while live streaming, I'm getting 25 up. So it's not on my end. And by the way, my upload for OBS. Johnny, you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You just weren't moving. You weren't blinking. You were freaking me out.
You told me to move slow.
Like, did he stroke off there for a second?
I peaked at 25 upload.
Okay.
It dropped right back down to 12, but I peaked at 25.
Well, I was holding 25, but I'm also sending 15 up to YouTube right now.
It peaked at 25 and stuck around like 16, 17, and at the very end it dropped to 11.
Novella Hub says if you squint, you can make John high definition.
This is just the only way Jeff looks better than
that. That was his wife's theory on it too.
Hey, I don't have to take showers that way.
Oh my God, it's Chad Kroger.
That's right. That works. Yes, baby, it is. I just wear a mask and be like, look at this photograph.
Every Every time I see it, it makes me laugh. All right.
So there's a lot of cool things you can do with Raspberry Pis.
There are. I've done quite a few things I've done like one thing on the channel with it. But I've done numerous different projects with Raspberry Pis. What's your favorite project that you've ever done with a Raspberry Pi? Have you done much outside of the box?
No, not really much. Just some Kodi boxes. I've done a VPN box, and then most of the time it's just retro Pi stuff.
Pis, yeah.
I built 3 during this whole entire time for coworkers.
Yeah,
like it's not hard, guys, but they're just like, oh, just do it for me. Here's $50, and then whatever the parts cost. All right, $50, sure, thanks.
$50. I can clone an SD card for $50.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's fine.
Yeah. I've done a lot of RetroPie stuff. I've done some digital signage stuff. I've done VPNs and wireless access and a couple other things like that. Probably the coolest thing that I did is I used to run a Disneyland-style photo booth at a haunted house. Yes, I have a very elaborate and winding past. But for right about 10 years, I took pictures live inside of a haunted house and then sold you those pictures outside.
That was Jeff's job before this, by the way. He was the creepy guy that I've got to get out of this. Dude.
Exactly.
Smile.
So if you think about when I started doing that, that was 2004 is when I started that whole path.
Pi 1.
No, it wasn't even that. Raspberry Pi didn't come out until I think 2013.
Oh.
Yeah,
it was the 8 or 10.
No, it was later than that. It was after the Oculus DK1, and I had an Oculus DK1 in 2012.
Oh, my Discord just went all black except for our stream.
Huh.
That's weird.
Yeah, like I said, I think Discord's having some
issues
going on. Let's see, Raspberry Pi. 2012.
Oh, wow, we're both off.
I said 13.
Yeah, okay,
So yeah. Anyway, so my whole photo setup evolved actually from like a Pentium 2 500 megahertz laptop and a couple G3 iMacs, because that's all I had in 2004, to all of a sudden I'm using Raspberry Pis to control cameras and automate everything, and queuing them in with Arduinos and infrared sensors, and having them take pictures and then via network send them out to my photo booths, where we would print them off or email them to you. So it was a lot of fun building those things, a lot of challenges. But as cool as designing those and getting the software to work right and kind of making open source and like bending it to my will and having it all be automated. Like, I know John's rolling his eyes, but come on, that was a big deal for me. I'm not a programmer, and I made that work. I also made an old-timey radio as a prop using a Raspberry Pi that played songs from Fallout because they were period correct and had references to like zombie invasions or containment's been breached or radiation and stuff like that. And so we had I rebuilt an old-time radio with a little motorcycle amplifier and a Raspberry Pi that we could interrupt with an emergency radio broadcast. So that was a fun one too. But anyway, as cool as those projects were, and as cool as using it for like props or money making was, there's a really cool project going on right now in relation to the current pandemic, and that is Raspberry Pi Zeros being used as the controller for ventilators.
Yeah.
I know there's a long-winded way to get there. I apologize. I'm a little chatty tonight. So the Raspberry Pi Foundation announced earlier this week that they are ramping up production of their $5 Raspberry Pi Zeros because there has been an enormous demand for something like this, where it's open source, can run Linux, and can interface with a bunch of different devices and a bunch of different sensors and is networkable.
Yeah.
And so they're starting to use Raspberry Pi Zeros as the brain for ventilators that are keeping people alive with COVID-19. And that is absolutely incredible. I think they were producing about 5,000 per quarter. I believe they are now producing close to 20,000, or they hope to produce 250,000 of these in the next couple of months. Just to get them available and get them out there for people to start building ventilators with.
Yeah, they said for the first quarter this year, 1.75 million units were shipped for the first quarter alone. That's probably their whole stock.
Yeah.
But that's also including the B4 or 4B.
Right. Yeah.
So they're kind of halting on those and ramping up production on the Pi Zeros.
Here it is. They produced 192,000 Pi Zeros, and that's both the Pi Zero and the Pi Zero W in quarter one, but they plan to increase that number to 250,000 moving forward.
Yeah.
So they're going to produce 250,000 of them this quarter.
Yeah.
Big Spoon, $5 donation. Bite My Bits Discord runs like a charm. Feel free to swing by when this one fails.
Yeah, well, he has crappy beer, so
that's right.
It basically this is how it is, Big Spoon. Our Discord is so drunk that it can't even keep up with us.
Yep. Yeah, I love how people go like Jason was so wasted during his New Year's stream. Do you realize how long it took him to get that wasted?
Yeah, well, when you're only drinking 4% stuff, it takes a long time.
Right. That was a marathon run for him. Like, I can get there by 11.
Well, I mean, like he was also claiming, "Oh, I took shots of tequila." I saw you like taking maybe 2 shots, and a shot of tequila is the equivalent of a 5% beer.
Right. It's an 80 proof. It's a 5%er. Right.
Not that impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, Reverend already said our Discord has better beer. That's exactly right.
That's right. I mean, this may look like Bud Light Orange. It don't taste like Bud Light.
No. This one doesn't look like Bud Light Orange. No, John, that doesn't look like Bud Light Orange. Bud Light Orange I can see through.
That's true.
A 12-pack.
Bud Light Orange looks like Sunkist.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
But I cannot wait to get a hold of that Bud Light lemonade. We're gonna have Bud Light lemonade, peach tea. Oh, it's gonna be so good, Jeff. The lift on this
John,
band,
haven't you punished yourself enough already with your month of March? I'm gonna drink nothing but low-cal beers. You're gonna come on my show and watch me drink hearty stouts while you sit there and drink that crap?
Oh no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have flight, the two of us. Big old flights. Yeah. It's going to be great.
No. Regan, $5 donation. Well, at least Craft Computing has enough friends on his Discord to host a show over it. Very good, sir. Craft Computing, hell, force him to drink only what's in Bite My Bits beer fridge. Well, that's pretty much what he brings over to my house anyway.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not wrong.
I mean, I bring like the classy version of like top shelf of what Bite My Bits has.
Yeah.
I bring top shelf Bite My Bits stuff.
Bit Native, what? The shot versus a beer is about the absorption rate. Not really, because your body metabolizes about 1 drink per hour, and they consider 1 drink to be a 6% beer or a 1.5 ounce shot of 80 proof liquor. It's the same amount of ethyl alcohol. What matters is how quickly you drink it and what you've had to eat that day, and how quickly your digestive system will actually absorb that ethanol into your blood, and how quickly your liver and kidneys can filter it back out. But on average, the average adult, medium weight adult can metabolize. Is it 1 drink or 2 drinks per? It's 2 drinks per hour.
I think
So
it's
if
two.
yeah, I think it's 2. So if you have a shot every 30 minutes, you will technically never be drunk. I say technically because again, it has to do with your body chemistry and metabolism
It's your
and
body chemistry, metabolism, what you ate, how do you? I mean, have you never drinking before? You know, is your
right.
liver used to that type of thing? You know, if you there is a bit of that
Well,
whole
your
seasoning.
drunkenness doesn't change. Your tolerance for being drunk changes.
Yeah, that's true.
Your ABV level doesn't change. How drunk you feel does.
Yeah.
So be careful. Go keto. You become a lightweight really fast. That's what I've heard. I have heard that. Luckily for me, I had a couple of pieces of Papa Murphy's family size thick crust stuffed 5 meat for dinner tonight.
That's the one thing is like I wanted to buy like Papa Murphy's came out with that like triple pepperoni like 2 weeks before this whole lockdown. I was like, I wanted to buy that.
It's really good.
How dare you do that to me, Papa Murphy's? And then it's constantly on my because I'll like click it and just kind of drool at it. Like I'm gonna buy it today. And then because of that, it just stays on my feed.
Yeah, and American Cocktail points out ketogenic diets pose the issue to your body because it requires sugar to metabolize alcohol, and that is absolutely correct. Again, if you've had a nice hearty meal or a lot of carbohydrates or a lot of simple sugars, your body metabolizes alcohol faster. So, quite honestly, if you don't want to get hungover, slam a Gatorade and 2 Snickers before you go out drinking, and you're probably going to be all right. Not that you won't be drunk still, but you'll be all right.
You'll probably be all right the next day.
Right. Oh, and my 5 meat was add pineapple. Yeah.
I'm going to try reloading Discord because I have nothing on my end, and you're cutting out constantly.
Okay. Well, I'm still getting Discord chat, so I think we're still good.
All right. And me, there we go.
Big Spoon, $9 donation, $9.99 donation. We have more fun coupons in Bite My Bits Discord.
No, we don't.
I don't know that I want any coupons. Like, is he giving away like love coupons? What's going on here? I'm not sure. So John will return eventually. Until then, it's the Double Jeff show. There's John.
There I am.
Well, I've got audio anyway.
Hang on. There I am.
Hello. There he is.
There we go.
He's back.
How's my stream looking?
The John freeze frame was with his tongue out for a while. Yeah, it was pretty great. You went.
Yeah.
And
That's
he froze.
called a thumbnail.
I really didn't fix it. I think it's just going to be what it is. Like I said, the audio's been pretty good.
Right.
Not great,
Whatever.
but pretty good.
That's
So.
weird. Whatever.
Pineapple on pizza is a bit like politics. You may not like it, but it's a fact.
Yeah, that sucks.
Good for one low orbital burrito cannon. Coupons on my bits. Double Jeff show every week. By the way, while you were gone, my webcam showed up in the secondary stream, so it was a Double Jeff show for a minute.
Yeah, I saw.
I should have done like some of the weird mirror stuff, like. Exactly.
So, Jeff, you're working from home now, right?
I am.
You are. So now, and you are head of your department.
I am.
For a large amount of people, you probably talk to heads of other departments that are probably stuck at home. Now
Every morning for like 2 hours.
How do you talk to them?
We talk over Zoom.
Oh, okay. So what do you think of Zoom?
So far I have liked it. It's certainly the most user friendly. It is certainly the easiest to teach people how to use and how to moderate large groups. We've got shareholder meetings. We've got different department meetings, different administrative level meetings that there could be 20 or 30 people in, and keeping everyone kind of on the same page, and muting the microphone if someone gets up and goes to the bathroom, or is trying to pinch one off on a cell phone while we're all sitting there talking. The moderation features on Zoom are quite nice and very user intuitive. I will give it that. There's been a lot of concerns brought up about Zoom's security practices, and we addressed this last week on the show. And I actually caught quite a bit of flack for defending Zoom, because I see a lot of these issues as almost non-issues, because I don't want to say it in a way that comes across wrong, but I almost kind of have to. The security issues that have been raised against Zoom almost feel like a smear campaign by the Skypes and Office 365s and Google Meets of the world. It really does. Not that there weren't a couple of things that probably should have been done better by Zoom from the start. But the level of outrage over Zoom issues is well beyond the proportion of what I did in my own investigation of Zoom, purchasing it for my company, and trusting our company assets and privacy and protection, and possible other legal things with it. I have no vested interest in Zoom other than it's the product that I purchased. That I wrote the PO to purchase for a large number of users at my company. Honestly, I've been happy with the purchase thus far.
So let's have anyone jump in?
No, we haven't had anyone jump in. We haven't had anyone Zoom bomb us or whatever the verb is now.
Yeah. Zoom bombing.
Zoom bombing. Yeah. Like I said, there was a high school senior in California who was Zoom bombing different classrooms around the States and was live streaming it on Twitch, and I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. Because it's kind of up to you to moderate your own streams, right? And when you're dealing with, teachers, maybe they're not the most tech-savvy bunch that's out there. When you're dealing with, corporate heads and CEOs and whatnot, maybe they're not the most tech savvy out there. I get it. I totally get it. And by default, Zoom was leaving pretty much every meeting unlocked with a random 10-digit code. Well, someone figured out the 10-digit code sequence that they were using and created a dialer where you could basically just dial up random 10-digit codes and see if it was unprotected and join the stream. And if you also hadn't locked down permissions, well, you can share your screen, you can send them porn, you can see a lot of different things. And that wasn't a great look. But I don't put that 100% on Zoom. I put that 50% on, put a password on your meetings, first and foremost. I put that on the user first and foremost, because GoToMeeting uses a lot of the same technology. They use a 9-digit randomly generated code, which sometimes is password protected, but by default is not. You've got Google Assistant and Google Meets. Guess what? You can join that with a random 9-digit code, and sometimes it's password protected, and sometimes it's not. Nope. And so I don't put that on Zoom. Maybe I say, hey, Zoom, maybe when this whole thing started, put a password on it. Maybe for your education customers, require a password. Maybe for corporatized email, require a password. Give your paying customers a little bit of extra security here.
Although at the same time, I have to say that I don't think Zoom was expecting something like this, because this was kind of just brought on them as like a bombshell, in the sense of everyone started using this globally even more so, because Zoom was just basically used corporation-wise for corporate meetings before this whole thing. And then everyone just adopted it, and their user base just skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. And I because of that, when you go from hey, we're a corporate level program, and most people, like you're saying, corporate people, they're not the smartest. I mean, you work with teachers, I work with salesmen, and if I have to tell them, hey, enter this 10-digit code, they're like, where? It's the big box in the center that says enter here.
Right.
I'm on a web page. It says security. I say go to your Internet Explorer. I get a bunch of files, and it's like not Windows Explorer. It's stuff like that. So people are they made it kind of work for them, and then when the whole world, literally the whole world, starts using your program, it gets nitpicked.
Zoom averaged about 10 million people streaming per week. That's what they averaged. Last week, they did 200 million.
Yeah.
And I will say, they've scaled quite nicely.
Yeah.
Like when you think about a 2,000% bandwidth and management and utilization requirement, they've done remarkably well keeping their service online. And for that, I praise them. And, like I said, I've done multiple Zoom meetings and I haven't had an issue. One person said they had a Zoom bombing today, but that was a case where a classmate gave a link away, and the link contains the password if you share the link via like a calendar invite. But the thing is, there's another piece of the puzzle here that's also called a waiting room, where the moderator of a meeting can basically whitelist who gets to come into the meeting. And so you see a participant list on the side, and it says there's a waiting room at the bottom and waiting to join. And you click on that and go, oh yeah, John and Steve and Rhett, they were all supposed to be here. Jason, who the hell's that guy? Out. And you can keep them out of your meeting. So even if you have the link, and even if you have the password, and even if you guess the 10-digit link and somehow guess the password, which I guarantee you're not doing both of those, there's still a waiting room to keep people out who don't need to be in your meeting. And it's up to the moderators to enable that. Now, I know for a lot of different customers, I read that they're enabling that for K-12 and higher ed. Recently, that they're enabling waiting rooms by default, and it wasn't a default setting before, but again, it already was a tool, and people didn't use the tool properly. So again, I'm not putting all that on Zoom, and the fact that 3% of Zoom meetings had uninvited guests in them because they guessed your 10-digit ID, which everyone uses a 10-digit ID. Tell you what, go to Google. Go to remotedesktop.google.com right now and say, I need support, and phone a friend in and see what it gives you. Guess what? It's a 9-digit code. Like, everyone uses the standard. It's not crazy. It's not like they had low security there. It's just that their default security tools weren't defaulted yet. They weren't on by default. And some people took advantage of that. And to Zoom's credit, they're going the other way. They're locking things down. The CEO of Zoom is the former CEO of WebEx, which is the company that Cisco acquired in 2007 to do video conferencing. Like, he developed that. He knows his stuff. He's been in this industry for 25 freaking years. He knows the technology. He knows what's required. He knows the security requirements. And the fact that all of a sudden they got popular and a couple of things happened doesn't mean they're bad at security. And I've said this multiple times. What sells me on a company isn't that they had a security hole. It's how they reacted to it. And thus far, Zoom has been impressing me with how they react. They've been changing policy. They've been upping their security. They've been setting their passwords and waiting rooms by default for a lot of their paying and even non-paying customers. They've opened their doors to K-12. They gave Zoom away for free to K-12. I read in an article, which is pretty freaking cool. And by the way, the code that you put onto meetings is randomly generated. So it's not like a user going, oh, just 11111. No, it's the same password I have in my luggage. It's not that at all. It's a random, I think, 8-digit code or something like that. And so it's like, you're not going to guess the 10-digit meeting ID and the random 8-digit code at the same time. It's not going to happen. And but if someone shares a link and someone shares the code and you don't have waiting rooms enabled, guess what? Maybe someone joins your meeting. And that's still on you as the user who didn't secure your stuff properly. I will say there was probably a misstep by Zoom saying they use end-to-end encryption. It is not technically end-to-end encryption. It is 256-bit AES encryption from the client to the server and then from the server to the client. But it is not encrypted the entire time in flight because it is decrypted on the server.
Yeah.
And a lot of people went up in arms about that. Guess what else? Skype, Google Meets, WebEx. Like, let's go down the list of every single VoIP service. Discord. Facebook Messenger, Facebook Live, YouTube. You know, go down any video service. It's not end-to-end encryption. It's decrypted at some point on the server level. Every single web video service does this. Every single one.
Yeah.
There is one video service that does not do this, and it's an open source video conferencing service that you have to host yourself. There's no one that actually hosts this. And I don't even remember what it's called. I looked into it very briefly going, maybe this is no, it's not a solution. So yeah, they said end-to-end encryption. It's not technically, but it's the same encryption service that you get from every other service. And they didn't have security holes. They had default settings that were probably too low, and people had expectations a little bit too high. Plus, they didn't read the FAQ before they said, oh, let's start a meeting. You know, I'll put 10% on Zoom for maybe push it on the user a little bit more that you probably need to do passwords, and then even beyond that, maybe need to do waiting rooms.
Yeah.
But 90% on the users for not knowing what they're using. And would you agree with that sentiment, John?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I mean, even I know on the user end, most people just click, go, click, go. I mean, like you were saying, Zoom is very user friendly. It is just, you know, I can click it. It is just here's 10 digits and boom, right? Say those 10 digits. Honestly, right. Even the password on top of that is like too much for a lot of people. They get confused of where do I put this? What do I do?
Which is why if you send a calendar invite through Google or Outlook or whoever else you use, it embeds the password in the link that you send in the calendar invite. And that is for a usability standpoint. This still has to be usable by everyone and their grandmother.
Yeah. Especially now, too. That is the thing. I mean, try giving this to your grandmother. You know, the old lady that has the remote, like, what's going on? You're looking at the camera thing finally?
No, trick logic. Total sysadmin. It's the user's fault. I am what I am, and that's all what I am.
There we go. I can go.
I barely know how to use Discord, LOL. Trick logic says I say that as a sysadmin. But again, I'm looking at all the tools and all of the security features that Zoom does have. And from a certain standpoint, if you're just a random person in a company and you said, oh, let's just do a Zoom meeting, and then you just started up a Zoom meeting with default settings, no security whatsoever, and then someone invades your meeting, you're probably going to be a little freaked out and go, someone hacked into my meeting. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. You didn't set a password, and you didn't have a waiting room. And that's 99.9% of the attacks against Zoom thus far, is tools that were available to end users that were not being used. Now, and again, to Zoom's credit, they've enabled those features by default now. Those features are now on for everyone indiscriminately. To prevent things like this.
That's just making it harder for, like you said, the grandmothers of the world and other people to like, I used to only have to do this. Well, Zoom sucks now.
Right. And so there is a sliding scale between usability and security. You know, if we wanted every single thing to be encrypted, we could do that. Most websites I go to now are encrypted. In fact, this page that I'm on right now, this MSNBC News page, is encrypted. It's an HTTPS page.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it to be, but it is, you know? But it's a sliding scale for usability. You have to make it accessible and secure. And you're never going to satisfy both parties entirely, because there's always going to be a security hole. There's always going to be something that you can poke at. And if you go from 10 million users to 200 million users within the course of 2 weeks, there's going to be a couple more fingers poking holes in your in your network. Yeah. So it is the way it is. But I do like what the CEO of Zoom has done. He says we are doubling and tripling down on security. And the faults that we found are absolutely not acceptable. But when you see an increase like this, you're bound to find more faults, both community-driven and engineer-driven. And how we react to that and how we fix that and how we make our product more secure will make us better in the long run. And we are absolutely committing to security. And that, to me, says everything I need to know about Zoom. Yeah. He's not brushing it off. He's not, brushing off accountability or not taking acceptance of it. He goes, yeah, there were a couple things that we found. We don't like them either.
We're working on them. We're fixing them right away as fast as we can.
We've already fixed it for the 99th percentile of people. There's a couple of things that are still out there that are moderation tools that we've been using before, because college universities were using Zoom to do like virtual lecture halls. And the moderator of the meeting could see what programs are active on the end user's side to make sure they were paying attention, is what the tool is intended to be. Well, all of a sudden you have corporate heads and medical teams and things like that starting to use this, and they're going, whoa, I don't need my other company knowing that this guy's over like surfing porn right now, or I don't need this person seeing like files that are on my computer right now. And it's not that they were seeing files, it's just that they were seeing programs that were currently open. And if Zoom wasn't the focus of, Zoom wasn't the currently active program on your desktop. So I get the feature, but at the same time, they could probably eliminate that feature and no one would care. Yeah. So, maybe they limit it to, you can tell if Zoom is the in-focus program or not, or alert you if Zoom is out of focus for 60 seconds or something like that. And still maintain the same feature, just change the way you monitor it. And I have no problems with Zoom. I have no problems with their security. And trust me, I've read about this a lot. It's my job to do this kind of crap. And if there was a problem, I would tell you. If there was a problem, Tom Lawrence would have told you when he Wiresharked it a week ago. If you don't know Tom Lawrence's YouTube channel, go check him out, Lawrence Systems, over on YouTube. He did a full Wireshark analysis of Zoom and the traffic, and he goes, it has a proper 256-bit TLS handshake, and here you can see the traffic, and you can see it's not peer-to-peer traffic. My IP address isn't being exposed. The client's IP address isn't being exposed. We see everything that's happening, and we can see it's properly encrypted, at least from the server to us. And even if the server decrypts it, every single video service decrypts traffic at the server and then re-encrypts it before it sends it to the second client. And every single TLS handshake is unique, and everything, like, what more do you want? What more do you want?
Well, even 99% of the people that are using it, that are complaining, don't even know half of that stuff.
Right.
So.
And I do, and it's my job to know that.
Again, they're just complaining. I saw some kid, I saw something, I'm gonna complain. And then they saw someone complain, and they said, well, what if that happened to me? I'm going to complain too. How dare that happen to me?
Zoom is the new bonsai buddy. I don't think it's that bad yet.
No. I do have to say, for as video streaming quality, if you turn this stream down to 24p, 240p, Jeff and I are equal. So if you want to watch that, it's been working for me great.
I'm still better looking. I'll give you that. What I do love right now, John, is I have enough clarity that your beer is in focus, but you are not.
Maybe that's the issue. I'll just do this.
Now you both look terrible.
Maybe there's like fog on my lens or something.
Stop moving. No, it's just pixelated. It's just compression artifacts. That's all it is.
All right. Well, speaking of beer, I need a new one. Are you done with yours yet?
I have this much left, so go get yourself a new one.
All right. We got one more small tech thing to talk about.
Yep. And then I think we might skip games.
Okay.
Because we need to get to Star Trek talk, because it's already 9:15. So, into this beer. This is one of the more enjoyable hazies that I've had. It does have a little bit of that acid burn, but it's not building, and it's not growing, and it's not irritating at all. It's not killing my voice. I've been talking all night long and all day long. And if my voice was going to die because of acid burn, it already would have done that. So this has been phenomenal. Just talking about how good my Treehouse hazy beer was.
Oh, that's nice, Jeff. That's nice.
It's delicious. In fact, it's a hazy that I'm enjoying all the way to the end.
You know what? No burn. No burn.
Right. Nothing. Like it's kind of there. I can kind of feel it right down there. But other than that, it's not irritating. It's not burning. It's not killing my taste buds like some of them sometimes do. It's just a good beer.
So what are you gonna have?
Oh, we're going that route, huh? So I've got a.
Yeah, what are you gonna have?
I think I'm gonna make a cocktail.
That's fine. I'll still have more ABV.
You're going 16, aren't you?
Yes, I am, Jeff.
Ooh.
Yes, I am.
Ooh.
I was like, you only live once.
LOL conspiracy theory. Jeff is limiting John's resolution until he stops bringing crappy beer. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I may be QoSing Discord just for the live stream on weeks that John is on, because I have that kind of power.
Oh, did you see the latest super chat?
I just saw it pop up. Yes, Jason, how's it going, old buddy, old pal? They're in the Midwest. I guess there's not a lot going on there because they shut down at 9 o'clock. Well, actually, now they shut down at like 6 o'clock because of the virus that's going around. Anyway, Jason, $4.99. I heard Kraft Cheese and Nickelback want to go shot for shot with me next New Year. Your hipster milk won't save you at my level. End quote.
Yes. Jeff, why don't you... How about I show him what my hipster milk is?
You know what, John? I'll give you the full screen camera. You want to rotate?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right.
Well, I don't know if the pixels will get it, though, unfortunately.
I can still read the label. You're good to go.
All right, fantastic. So, yeah, my hipster milk right here. That's 16% hipster milk there.
I'm so mad at you right now.
Yep, that's right. 16%. Yeah, no. This is breakfast for me.
Right.
I'm sorry. This is actually still pretty cheap. I mean, for 16%, it's only $10.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
The best part of waking up
is 16% in your cup.
All right, well, I'm going to let you open that one, and I'm going to grab my materials that I need, and we'll go from there.
Are you just going something basic? You can't, unfortunately, you couldn't see this. Oh, but just the CO2, the steam is coming out of the bottle. Surprisingly, this isn't thick. This is actually pouring very thin. Oh, that tastes yummy. Skull, you forgot to put its worldwide stout 16%. You know, there's no bourbon in this either. This is just a straight coffee stout at 16%, imperial coffee stout. What do you call this? A very dark beer, and it is a very dark beer. with ridiculous amounts of barley. And you know what? You really don't taste the barley. It's just really sweet and coffee. This actually reminds me a lot of the Jameson cold brew whiskey.
That is an insanely caramely head.
Oh yeah, it's it's not thick. It is not thick.
Really?
No, it is quite thin. I might go back and buy like 2 more of these. Maybe I'll bring one on the show. I don't know.
You really should. You really should.
I mean, I already gave you another coffee beer for your birthday.
I know. That was delicious.
You drank it?
Maybe.
At least tell me.
Wait, was the Avery's the coffee?
Yeah,
I still have the Avery's still in the fridge.
Okay, yeah.
It's still in the fridge.
Coffee one.
Yep. So I decided to go ahead and go with some liquor here. So I'm going to make an old fashioned because I love old fashions. I've got some. I have some Michter's straight rye that I'm going to do. So this is a 95 proof. Vanilla, caramel, a little bit of apple. God, it just smells delicious. So we're going to do a 3-ounce pour of the Michter's rye. Oh, and before I do the pour, I got to show you the rocks that I've been cooking up lately. So this is the ice that I'm cooking up lately. Just how clear that is. I've been really upping my ice game.
I can actually see your forehead through it.
I know, isn't that amazing? So yeah, I've been seriously upping my rocks game lately. So, we're going to do a 3-ounce pour.
So you can say you're getting your rocks off?
Upping my rocks game, I believe was my direct quote. We're gonna
you could say.
Yes. 3-ounce pour of Michter's straight rye. We're going to use some of my favorite bitters. This is the Bitter Housewife Old Fashioned Bitters. It's actually a Portland, Oregon company that makes bitters. It's alcohol, water, sugar, dried Bing cherries, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, quassia, walnut leaf, wild cherry bark, sarsaparilla, and grains of paradise.
That sounds delicious.
Right? I'm going to give myself 4 dashes of that because I'm worth it. And then I made some a fresh batch of syrup last night. This is actually some Demerara syrup. We're going to give myself a little 3/4 ounce pour of that. And give that a shake, or a stir, as it were. You don't shake an old fashioned.
It's like that one sip right there was as much as a Bud Light orange.
Right?
I just had 2 Bud Light oranges. Oh, I feel like it's New Year's already. You guys see my new cool backdrop?
It's brick. Oh, wait, I copied something on that.
I need to paint it. No, there's a line. I need to basically make it look just like my wall before.
It's a wall, but it's slightly textured now. I'm going to put the shelf back right where it was before.
Hey, you guys see my handmade sign I made? That's cool, but I'm going to mock myself. Hey, you want to see me shuck a hard drive?
Western Digital, send me free shit. Oh, yes.
No, I did. I sent you that picture, right, of that old-fashioned beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I was like, oh, should I save this for with Jeff or not? Because I don't know how long this is going to last.
Oh, my God. That's delicious. All right.
All right, so we want to do this. We're skipping all the game stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of
Excuse me.
gaming and everything else. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't a lot gaming news-wise. Switch lets you save games to an SD card now. Sony is giving games away as part of their play-at-home initiative, so they're giving you 2 AAA titles.
Actually, 4 AAA titles because one of them is a 3-pack.
I do kind of want to talk about the last one real quick. because we just got off Zoom, of a big Zoom thing. So if you want to spice up your next Zoom meeting, invite a llama.
I saw this as like, all right, let's slide that in there.
Let's slide it in there, yeah. So for less than $100, I'm guessing $99.95.
No, it's actually like $65.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's different farm animals, and a llama is only $65.
Okay, so what they're calling Goat to Meeting, which, by the way, A+ for the name. What they're calling Goat to Meeting, you can invite a farm animal to your next Zoom meeting. The llama is one of the more popular choices at $65, but they have goats, pigs, horses, oh my. So basically it is a farm in Silicon Valley that is basically just live broadcasting, just holding cameras in front of farm animals for your next Zoom meeting. The farm is called Sweet Farm Llamas. And the reason they're doing this is to help offset the cost from tourism that they're losing because of COVID-19. Now, I know it sounds...
Now we're demonetized. Thanks a lot.
Right. I know it sounds stupid, but they've already done this 300 times. You figure 300 even times 65... You're looking, what, 20 grand? 20,
well,
22?
It's not even just 65. It's 65 for 20 minutes.
Right.
So,
it's 20 minutes a pop, and they've already had 300 customers.
Yeah,
so,
and then they didn't even talk about for how long those customers went.
Right, so bare minimum, they've made about $21,000 in like 2 weeks. So if you want a goat or a pig or an alpaca or a llama or a cow to join your next Zoom meeting, goat to llama.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to mess with, someone in the corporate world or anything like that, this would be the way to do. $65 for some 20 minutes of entertainment, watching your sysadmin freak out.
I just realized I don't have a Goat to Llama affiliate link, and I really wish I did.
If you use Jeff's promo code, you get 10% off your first Goat to meeting.
Your first Goat. Okay. We've put this off long enough. It is 9:30. Get on your comm badge. That's all I can say.
All right, let's do this. So if you haven't seen at least episode 10 of Picard, go ahead and turn off now.
Right, unless you want spoilers. Some people are some people are fine with spoilers. We're gonna spoil.
We are 2 weeks out, so I think we're safe.
Yeah. Big Spoon, $4.99 donation. After party at Bite My Bits Discord, because these sexy mother effers never show up to the after party voice chat. Also, way less lawsuits. No, Bite My Bits has been involved in just as many lawsuits, I will have you know.
Yes. That's why we had to stop.
Just maybe not on the plaintiff side of things. I love that blew up, by the way. I love that blew up.
I don't know why so many people took it so seriously. It was like, dude, look at the date. Look at the date. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you still shouldn't do it.
Right.
We didn't.
Right. I didn't. Did you not read the judge's declaration at the end that Jason was a giant poo-poo head and that his name was Jason Bits?
Well, they probably actually think that's true.
Mr. Bits! It was all part of the joke. And by the way, Jason didn't tell me he was doing this until about 30 minutes before it went live. I have the DMs to prove it in Twitter. So I got a barbin at Jason, as I often do. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it might have been... so I have a Lego A-Wing up here, which was my birthday present for my wife. She usually gets me a decent Lego set for my birthday. So I built the Lego A-Wing. But before that, I had my Threadripper processor and a pair of sunglasses that Mr. Bits sent over to me. But he sent over 2 pairs of glasses. He sent over a Bud Light orange set of glasses, and he sent over a Bud Light lime set of glasses.
Yeah.
So I put the sunglasses up on that shelf right there. And there was only 1 pair of sunglasses there. Now, Jason, we know, is all about the Bud Light orange. The notorious BLO, as I like to call him. So I posted a picture on Twitter as soon as I got these shelves up. And said, new shelves, who dis? And I posted a picture of just this set of shelves over this way, specifically so the sunglasses would be in the frame, because I'm an epic troll and I like to do the 2-level trolls. And I know Jason follows me, and I know he would see it. And as soon as he saw the glasses, he would point it out and make a snide comment. And he did. He posted just an emoji with 2 eyeballs looking at the glasses. To which I then responded with a video of me turning the glasses sideways, and they're the Bud Light lime glasses. Because that's how I roll. And Jason got upset with that. He, son of a bitch. He posted that. And then he literally said that morning that's almost as good as the joke that's going live in 30 minutes. I hope... And to which he also said, I hope I didn't take it too far.
Well, he's been kind of trolling you for a bit now, a couple of videos. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he did like a Bite My Bits Live where he was going on the wall, and that's where he introduced the whole premise of this. And I don't know if he kind of thought of this all the way back then or not.
I didn't see it
but so far, it's been a fun rivalry watching the 2 of you go.
It might be in the outside fridge. Go check it out.
So he has a producer issue.
Yeah, no, it's not in my fridge. Okay.
She's looking for some equipment that Jeff does not have currently. So
Thank you. I'll look in the outside.
there we go. We're back. I covered.
Sorry, my wife tried to blend herself like a peach mojito or something like that. And she goes, I'm missing something. Do you have this? And I said, yeah, I think it's upstairs. She goes, do you think that's what I need? And I took a sip and went, yeah, you're good.
Maybe she needs a peach tea PBR.
Right. But yeah, so that thing was so fun. Say hi to the producer. Hi, producer.
Yes, she's gone. All right.
Producer needed to raid the special fridge. Exactly.
All right. We got 30 minutes. We were going to have an hour. You want to do this?
Let's do this. All right. Star Trek Picard.
Star Trek Picard. So if you haven't watched season 1, it's been 2 weeks, so fair warning, spoilers now.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I want to start with one of the main criticisms I heard about Star Trek Picard. Not Kurtzman, because I heard a lot of Kurtzman criticism, and I don't agree with probably 85% of it. Because they go like, he took it a completely different direction. Star Trek would never do that. They would never like brutally murder someone just for the plot point. I'm like, bull. I can call like 7 episodes off the top of my head that they've done that.
And in Zoom too.
Well, they would never do this. Well, yeah, they did. They did this in like episode 22, 37, 49. Like, they've done this before.
Yeah, the problem was back then in the late 80s, early 90s, you couldn't be as graphic. Now, they still did it. They just couldn't be as graphic.
Right. They pulled an Indiana Jones skull-melting phaser from Picard and Riker from a Starfleet admiral.
And they pulled the whole
in 1988
out of the chest.
Right.
Thing.
Right. And all of a sudden they're going, oh, the murder of Icheb was too graphic. It was supposed to be. You were supposed to be mad about it. Yeah. That was the point of it. It was a character development point to show why 7 of 9 went from someone who cared so deeply about humanity to all of a sudden would kill for revenge.
Well, and it even played toward her character. Now, this is jumping ahead to what is it? We're talking episode 5.
Right.
But this is jumping, but this does play to the character. Even in Voyager, there was a whole episode in Voyager where Icheb, was given back to her his parents. Mm-hmm. And she was basically like distraught of like, no, he's essentially my adopted son. Mm-hmm. In this. And she goes and proves that they've been abusing him and giving them to the Borg. That's not a spoiler. It's pretty old news. That's why, and they get them back.
Spoilers, hashtag 98.
So yeah, this makes 100% sense in that it's graphic, and again, too, it is modern storytelling. It is a private streaming service. This is not mainstream television that they have been producing, so they can push the edge. They can do these things that they probably kind of wanted to do, but didn't. I mean, heck, they did more graphic stuff in the movies.
Right.
Too. I mean, when Picard in First Contact ripped open the Borg's guts and took parts out of him. I mean, that's graphic.
Right. They've never done revenge killings in Star Trek before. Picard has done revenge killings.
Worf did revenge killing.
I saw the look on your face when you shot that Borg on the holodeck.
Yeah.
We've been there before, people.
It's fine. I mean,
right.
Yes, there is. But again, too, it is just, you have to take it in context. That was a mainstream, family-friendly show, but they were still trying to push the edge.
Right. Anyway, one of the main criticisms that I've heard of the show is the inconsistent tempo of the show.
Okay.
I want to hear your opinion on this, John. So we watched the show basically day one every single week. I sat down Thursday nights at 8:30 exactly with my wife, 10 straight weeks, and we watched this show.
Because we couldn't talk about it until afterwards. We all know what
there was a 929 moratorium on Picard talk on the Discord.
Yeah.
But I want to get your opinion from someone who did that same thing, who watched it at the same time every week and had to wait the full next week for the next episode because the episodes were not paced the same way.
No, they weren't. So from that perspective, and I have to say that, from that perspective, yes, I do agree that it felt different. Pacing-wise, felt different. There were episodes that seemed perfectly fine and were paced almost perfectly. And then they were like, that was drawn out. You could have literally cut that whole episode out, and I wouldn't have cared.
Right.
But now, Jeff and I talked, because we tried doing this, last week or a week before, basically right when Picard ended.
Yeah.
And we just, our schedules just didn't match, and we couldn't do this. So we're like, hey, let's make sure to binge watch Picard. Let's go through it all as a single series, and kind of if you were to binge watch it. I didn't get all the way through. I got pretty close. I got to episode 7. Literally, as Jeff and I were talking this morning, setting up, Jeff was like, I'm finishing it right now. Hang on. I could hear it in the background.
When John and I connected on Discord via video, I was on the Data death scene. I was on the Picard death scene where he's talking to Data. And I said, hold on, I have 7 minutes left. Yeah. And so that was at 7:45, 15 minutes before the show. I finished with 5 minutes to spare. So
I will have to state that the episodes I did watch through as a whole in one, as all of them in one, the first 7, didn't feel as bad, actually. It really did. Now, there were slow parts, but didn't feel as bad. Yeah.
I will say, when I watched it as they debuted week by week, there were a couple episodes that fell really flat to me. Episode 2 in particular. 2 and 3 were very, very slow, very drawn out. Nothing but character development, and half of that character development I felt like I could go without.
Yeah.
At the time. And that's the key qualifier there. At the time. I went back and I watched every single episode from Monday till today. I watched all 10 episodes this week. I feel completely differently about the pacing now. Really? I feel that as a whole, if you binge watch it, it feels like watching Lord of the Rings. It feels like sitting down and just binge watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Because there's a whole hour where it's nothing but Frodo gasping for air and a couple other things that are going on that are just really boring. Like you've got Pippin and Took up in the trees and they're walking around. Like think of the Two Towers. There's an hour in there that just sucks.
Oh yeah, I know.
There is.
And you're waiting 2 years for the next one to come out.
Right. But even watching, if you sit down and you do like the director's extended cut 13.5 hour watch of Lord of the Rings, it's enticing the entire time. But when you sat down and watched The Two Towers in theaters, and there's the spider scene, and it's nothing but Gollum getting into the head of Frodo and
Frodo, and then he's talking to himself, and they're in that journey.
The hobbits, they tuxes it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so The Two Towers is nothing but like these mind games and really weird thing. But if you put it together and you watch it consecutively, it's really good storytelling.
Yeah.
And I felt that way about Picard. I went back and I watched the whole thing straight through, and it's a great, well-told story. It really is.
Now, I still think there could... I think to bring it to a level of greatness, you could... maybe a whole episode, maybe 9 episodes. You could have cut out, basically. But that's through the whole 10-episode season.
Right.
There were scenes that are like, okay, this is dumb. I will state, though, even coming back, one thing I even noticed, even more so coming back and binge watching, there was actually so much fan service in this series. And I think they did it extremely tastefully. But at the same time, now here's my downside. I did find more inconsistencies in not the storytelling, but possibly storytelling, but just set props, graphics, way they kind of concluded to things. Like episode 1, if you notice, they actually do use a bit more hardware tablet, old Trek type things. When he's in the warehouse, he still has to type on a tablet. When he's in his home, there's some automated.
There's the holographic display in front of the sink so they can watch TV.
There's a little bit of that, but there's still a bit more. Oh, you see that traditional Trek, similar to our screen right now.
Right.
Those dials, those kiosks. You see it. It definitely looks more modern.
I so want to reach out and touch it. I do.
Yeah.
I really want to.
To where once I got to episode 3 when he was on Rios' ship, all of that went away. It was all everything's in the air, swipe, 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 swipe. Actually, it wasn't even episode 2 once I got into the apartment with the lady's laptop. Thing. So
I wasn't a fan visually of everything being a holographic display. I really wasn't. Yeah. There's some instances where it really makes sense. Rios in the captain's chair where he's got, the yoke and everything else, and he's flying the ship, and he's got the heads-up display that follows his head. Yeah. That totally makes sense. But for a lot of the other interfaces, it really doesn't. And I didn't like that there was symmetry between the Romulan bridges and the Federation bridges. There was too much alike and too much technology like converging and being popular with a certain race at a certain time at the same time. It didn't feel right.
And the fact that early on they sit there and specifically state that Romulans, we use binary systems only. And then, wait a second, your bridge looks exactly like the latest thing that Riker's using.
Right. And I understand design language from a production standpoint.
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly.
Whatnot. And you look at all of the Star Treks, and they're very similar. That even the bridges of all the enemy ships, they share a similar design language. Voyager had its own design language and its own thing that it did for the aliens.
I mean, they were on a budget prop set. Essentially, they used things over and over again. They just spray painted and rattle canned it and used it again and again and again and hot glued something over something else. It's probably a Bix razor as used as the metachlorian counter somewhere in there. If you didn't get that Star Trek episode 1 right there.
The 3D printer used on Mars as a replicator where they didn't even bother taking out the extrusion head.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like that, just of a nod. I'm like, hey, I know that prop. I didn't mind that.
And I will say it's accurate because they used it as a replicator.
Yeah, exactly. So like, that's actually kind of cool. Which I did notice though that in episode 1, in Picard's home, it's not that.
Right.
So it is a bit more of a rugged replicator.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, there were so I guess for me, I did notice the storytelling was better if you watch it as a whole, because it really just feels like one story, where we're so used to Star Trek being episodic.
Yes.
Now, what went through my mind was, could this story have been told in, say, possibly 5 episodes just as well?
I don't know that I don't know that it could have.
I don't know. I think it could. I think it may have been able to be tweaked and could have been told just so, because there was a lot of still assumptions. There was a lot of jumping to conclusions of even 7 of 9 just showing up, and the fact that honestly, actually, that was one of my more favorite episodes, was the 7 of 9, the Icheb being killed.
Yeah.
And
the Free Cloud episode.
Yeah, the Free
Cloud episode was great.
One thing, though, that went through my head was, okay, in all Star Treks, how many times have they disguised themselves to look like different races, and the Doctor just surgically alter them? Where this one, for some reason, they have an EMH that's even more modern than the Mark I on Voyager, and they have to wear costumes. Now, for the episode it plays, but as a Star Trek fan, that doesn't really compute.
But see, they weren't trying to come off as different races. He just was trying not to come off as Locutus of Borg.
Exactly.
And for that, it totally makes sense. And Rios, an ex-Federation commander. And, you know...
But, I mean, how easy would it have been to just change your appearance? Because it's supposed to be, it's really easy now. Here you go. Here's some laser surgery really quick, fast and easy.
But they didn't need to disguise it that much. It was more about... I'll defend it in that it was more about the personalities than the disguise itself.
I guess for Picard being the universal famous admiral that he was, maybe should have done him. Every other character, sure, could have probably gotten away with the costume. But him with a beret and a patch and a really snooty French accent.
I liked it. I liked it. I personally liked it.
As far as a character, I was like, this is not your typical Picard. It really wasn't. Kind of was, because he did portray some stuff in the holodeck a few times.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like normal Picard. Now, I think everyone's probably biggest problem with this series is that it is a single story.
Yes.
Where we are used to episodic, one and done, finished, and there we go. And I think that's probably going to be everyone's biggest issue with Picard.
Yes. I fully agree with that. I had the thought, this played a lot like First Contact. So think of the best Star Trek, The Next Generation movie, and you can talk about it with Wrath of Khan and Voyage Home, and even 2009 Star Trek. You can talk about like those 4 movies as like the upper crust of Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
Think of your best episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. You've got Tapestry, you've got Learning the Flute, you've got Darmok and Jalad, you've got some of the Q episodes, you've got not any of the holodeck episodes. You've got
what? Moriarty?
Right. You have All Good Things. And, so think of like those tier episodes. Think of the best episodes of DS9. You've got Sacrifice of Angels. You've got the episode where Dax dies. You've got, so think of those. Think of the best episodes of Voyager. You've got Year of Hell. You've got not Tuvix. So think of like your upper crust.
Breaking the barrier? That's not
right. Transwarp. Yeah.
Transwarp.
Threshold.
That's it.
So yeah, think of your upper crust of the movies and episodes individually. This felt a lot like a lot of those. It really did throughout. But at the same time, it's 10 episodes worth. And there's a lot of story there. And we talked about this early on, where in some parts they did very, very well in telling 20 years of story in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
They did a broadcast interview with Picard where you knew everything you needed to know about the Romulan supernova and the Mars attack than you could ever learn by reliving those events.
Oh,
and you heard it from both perspectives.
Yeah, episode 1 of Picard through the whole series, I still think is the best.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal visually, storytelling wise. It really brought you from Insurrection to Picard.
Right.
I knew everything. I knew everything.
I know everything I need to know.
Yep.
I am completely caught up. I know where Picard is. I know where he was. I see him, see flashes of Data in this girl, and all of a sudden she's dead. And even the beginning of episode 2, where he's like kind of waking up and whatnot, and they're saying, we looked at the security tapes and there's nothing there. There's just you laying on the ground and like you collapsed kind of thing. And he's going, there was a Tal Shiar attack and then he's been going, I've been, pissing my life away as a begrudging old man, wallowing in my own self-pity when I should have been doing something and whatnot. And so that was a great moment. Yeah. But I come back to, talking about like the upper crust of the Star Trek movies and the best episodes of Star Trek that we remember. Those are what we remember as Star Trek. And I think this embodied a lot of that. But at the same time, it's paced to be a 10-hour miniseries. And so where the movies were pretty fluid and pretty fast-paced, especially First Contact. First Contact was very fast-paced throughout the entire thing. This was a little bit more laid back with some fast-paced elements.
Yes. No, it seemed that, there were like 3-4 episodes, not about 3 episodes that were fast-paced. The rest of it seemed slow, and we kind of chalked up maybe 2 or 3 of those to character development. But at the same time, kind of like what you're saying, it kind of made me sit there and think of, it almost seems like episode 2 was like almost 1 and 2 actually would be seeing part of the life in in Star Trek Next Generation, the Inner Light or whatever, the one with the flute.
Yeah.
It was almost like watching part of his life in there, because it really felt like, here's his life and he's getting older. Mm-hmm. He did struggle in that episode, which is one of the, like you said, one of the better episodes in there.
I also told John before this. So this week I watched every episode of Star Trek Picard, and I went back and I watched a couple of Next Gen episodes, including Tapestry, which is the one where Picard dies from a phaser blast to the chest, in which his artificial heart stops beating and they can't restart it. And Q basically like rescues him from that, but takes him back to his academy days, where he got his artificial heart because he got in a fight with what was the species?
Andorian.
Where he got in a fight with a bunch of Andorians over a rigged game of pool, essentially.
Domjob was actually, it was
Domjob. Yeah. I couldn't remember. And got stabbed through the chest, and then started laughing about it while he's being stabbed, and then falls over dead, essentially, and then gets a heart transplant. And that is an amazing episode as well. But there's a quote in that episode that is very, quintessential Picard. I would rather die as the man I am than live the life I just saw. And because he has to go back and he goes, if you don't fight them and you don't get that artificial heart, you'll become the man you are, and I'll take you back to the present. You can go about your merry day. And Q fulfills his promise, and he takes him back, and he's a lieutenant junior rank wearing a blue uniform.
Scientist,
Yeah, on the bridge of the Enterprise. And they say, you're a good officer. You're punctual, you're accurate, but you've never
asserted yourself.
You've never asserted yourself. You've never taken charge. You've never been the guy that.
You've never taken a risk.
Right. You're very cautious. You're very yeah.
Introverted.
There we go. Introverted.
Yeah.
You're very introverted. You're very private. You don't share.
And this is Riker saying this.
Right, Riker and Counselor Troi saying you're a good officer, but I think you've reached about as far as you can reach in your path and whatnot. And but I mean, there's leaps in that episode as well. So if you're talking about like leaps of like, let's move the plot along, like Raffi figuring out from 5 holograms with no memory scan of Rios that there's this massive Romulan plot for an end of the universe event, like that was a leap. But at the same time, I liked it.
But I kind of like that sequence.
Right.
I like. Well, the thing is, actually, I
love Rios.
Think Rios was the best character. Well, Rios and his holograms were the best characters in this whole. They stole the show. I
freaking love Rios.
Yeah, Rios stole the show. I mean, he comes in, introduced
Nausicaan, not Andorian. Nausicaan.
Oh, Nausicaan. Okay.
Sorry.
Comes in and steals the show as a Han Solo renegade badass with a shard of metal in his side. Takes a shot at tequila and just.
What happened to you?
Cool.
I didn't die.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I love that intro.
Yeah,
and
the cigar. I mean, almost like a Wolverine type.
Yes.
Badass.
It's very Hugh Jackman-like, but then you add his holograms into that whole mix. And I'm the navigation officer. I'm happy to help you.
Yeah. Exactly, and then
the engineer. Oh, I do remember something about the girl who came on board.
I know.
You know?
It's kind of almost a little Scotty-ish. Yeah. No,
that's great.
And
the
like,
drunken helmsman.
Yeah. Oh, like you were saying, the producer or the director. Yeah, the producer. I think he actually gave fans a lot of what they wanted, but in subtle ways. Yeah. You have to dig through it, and it's there. And I think that because we watched it week by week, so many people dissected it almost too much. I will even say we did that. We were at fault at doing that as well. But we did state that, hang on, we're going to have to watch this I think recognized by like episode 4 or 5. We're going to have to watch this as a series in its integrity to really capture it. But still, episode by episode, we had our doubts, but it was better. But the one thing I do have to state, though, is I don't know how binge-worthy this will be. It does feel like a movie. Like, hey, I could watch it once every 5-6 years.
It's probably not something I'll watch every year.
Yeah,
probably not.
TNG, I'd probably go through all of the Star Treks, maybe not original, but TNG, DS9, and Voyager. I probably go through the whole series every 2 years.
Right.
Just as I'm done with all my standard binge watching. What do I have left? Screw it. I'm going to classics. I'm going to TNG. I'm going to start my Star Trek.
Right. So I haven't done that all that much with Star Trek. Like I have favorite episodes I go back to. I did watch episodes 4 through 7 of DS9 last year, just while editing videos here or whatnot. But I don't have a lot of time that I can devote to sitting there watching it, or even on in the background, because I've got 2 kids and a very busy life, working 2 jobs and whatnot. But I did really enjoy Picard. And you made a great point. When we watched it week by week, we watched episode 1 and went, holy freaking crap. That was everything I ever hoped it possibly could have been, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And then we watched episode 2, and we went, that was really slow, and a lot of politics, and a lot of dark secrets, and a lot of character development, and a little bit of introvertedness on Picard, broken old man.
We'll give it that.
And there's that just abnormality in the temporal lobe, with your brain that can kill you someday. And whatnot. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll give them that. They needed an episode for character development. They brought in Girardi a little bit. All of a sudden, we see a little, thing with Commodore O and whatnot. It's like, okay. And you have the Admiral who drops the F-bomb, which I disagree with her character using that word ever again. And then you go to episode 3, and you get Hugh and Soji. You're finally really introducing them as characters. But Hugh only gets like 2 minutes as like a cameo kind of thing, and I'm like, boy, I hope he was in more than just that, because that's bull. If you were like using him in 7 of 9 as like the main like come watch our movie,
of like, oh, look at all these characters coming back,
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish your
right. And so we watched episode 3 and went, wow, they like name dropped Hugh, but nothing more than that. Like, wow, you talked to them in their mother tongue. Fantastic. Go about your work. And that was all Hugh did. And it's like, what the crap is that? And then there's all of a sudden this weird like romance with Soji and the Romulan.
Romulan, yeah.
Right. And you're going, I'm not loving 3. Let's see 4. And all of a sudden 4, we start moving along. 4 was Free Cloud. And
5
was
Free Cloud.
5 was Free Cloud. What was 4? Oh, 4 was the Romulan priest. Or the Romulan nuns.
The Romulan planet. I still have trouble with that one.
I still have trouble with that one. I had trouble with 2 and I had trouble with 4. And I had some trouble with 3. So it's like the early middle of the series is not great.
No, and that's where I said I think they could have probably made this 10 episodes, maybe 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Right.
But
at the same time, I went through and I rewatched everything, and the story plays very well in a mini-series back-to-back format. It's when it's broken up week by week and I'm waiting 7 days to find out what the next step is. We're not used to doing that, and all of a sudden we're back to the Dual Jeff show. We're not used to doing the that kind of thing where I'm waiting a week to find out the next result. Like, we've done that with Breaking Bad, we've done that with Game of Thrones, and we've done that with a couple of series, and now Better Call Saul is all of a sudden on everyone's tongue. But we're not used to doing that as people anymore. We're not used to waiting a full week to get the conclusion to our story, or even the next chapter to our story. We want everything to be wrapped up with a pretty little bow, and then we'll dissect the living hell out of it, and then we move on to the next thing. And I think this just fell right between those two timelines, where it moves a little too quickly to appease the common fan or the peripheral fan, but it moved a little too slowly to appease like the rabid fans.
Yeah.
John, did you hear any of that?
I heard it all. Apparently, my Discord just like freaked out. I was trying to talk to Rhett, and it freaked out.
Yeah.
He's drinking gin, so I was like, oh, let's comment.
Oh, yeah, gin, yes!
Gin, I like gin!
Right. So, Picard moved too slowly to appease the peripheral fan, and moved a little too quickly to appease the rabid Star Trek fan that needs to dissect every little last detail. And, oh, why was that golf ball in this shot? And, for like 3 frames.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I was trying to get back into, where the production company, I think they did a really good job of appeasing some fans, basically just feeding some fans some stuff. Yeah. But I think they overtook it. They were literally looking at, do you see that character in the far background? What kind of uniform is he wearing? Oh my gosh, it's that species. That means this. It's going to happen. This war is going to break. No,
the inside of Borg cubes don't look like that.
The thing is, though, you have to understand, we have more graphics, we have more technology. Also, at the same time, we don't know when this Borg cube was taken, technically.
Even like, let's not take the canon side of this. The Borg look different in Voyager than they did in DS9 than they did in TNG. And thank God they look different from TNG to Voyager, because they looked a hell of a lot more sinister in Voyager.
Yeah, well, were they in DS9?
They were in DS9 just for the Wolf 359 flashbacks.
Yeah, episode 1.
Right.
Other than that,
they did a couple other flashbacks with that as well, where they had full-on Borg in there. I don't think they were ever an omnipresent kind of thing. because they were more worried about the Dominion. But
Yeah.
But the Borg evolved in what they looked like and what they were and what they felt like. And First Contact was part of that, but they looked completely different in First Contact than they did in Voyager. And before Voyager, there was no queen. All of a sudden, you have a Borg queen who's suddenly...
Yeah, I mean, and in all, everything, it is just, okay, here's a budget thing. You have to understand, there is storytelling, and then there are a cybernetic... species essentially that assimilate all technology. So you are under the assumption that when they absorb a new technology, those Borg will change and progressively grow. We understand that. In the Voyager one, where they had the Doctor's hologram, the portable holomatrix or whatever, that Borg looked completely different. I mean, so
not only that, but production companies change, and depending on who your director of photography is, depending on who your director of visual arts is, depending on who your set designer is, there's going to be different interpretations for what this should look like. And just because it changes doesn't mean you stop telling the same story.
No, I had no problem with how the Borg honestly looked.
We don't talk about it with outsiders. Look no further than that.
No,
for God's sakes.
That was a great episode.
Right.
Best DS9 episode ever.
But it's like no one cared that the Klingons looked different in 1987 than they did in 1971. No one cared.
But they do care now.
They do care now.
Because
but all of a sudden, no one cares that Worf went through like 7 different Ridge adaptations until he finally developed into the character that he is.
Whoa, don't forget the eyebrows. He went through ridges and eyebrows.
And the muscle suits and the shoulders and the, like go back and watch season 2 Worf and tell me what you think of the Klingon race.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty picture.
No,
I could be a Klingon at 6'5" and 185 pounds.
Going back to some points though, that there were certain things, though I didn't of the fan service, the hype build like you were talking about of the hue. I think there was some stuff though that was hyped that a lot of people took out of context. Actually, and I don't know if you used to notice this, the dog. Do you remember number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, the poster has the dog. Everything has the dog.
He's in 4 shots.
He's in 4 shots. No one cares, and he speaks a little French to him. That's it, and eats a horrible prop squirrel. By the way, horrible prop squirrel.
Like, you want to talk about fan service? A pit bull named number 1.
Yeah, but the squirrel that he eats or catches, they're like, what is that? I had to take a while to, exactly. That was like the baby in, I forget what. The
sniper movie.
The sniper. Oh my, the baby. It's like, yes, this baby's alive.
God.
Oh God, yeah. That was that bad. That is more realistic. You've had more love for that whiskey bottle. I mean, because how many people sat there and took the cover shot, the poster, because number 1, the pit bull, the dog was in the poster, and they're like, oh, it's going to be like John Wick and Picard, type of a thing. A lot of people had that.
I know.
Picard's going to be this badass. And it's not that like it couldn't have happened. And then also the Romulan caretakers, the Tal Shiar caretakers.
I loved them.
I loved them.
I loved it.
They just, no one cared. I was like, no, they were awesome. They bounced off each other. They were humor.
And they served their role in the story.
Yeah. Oh, it was
they served what they needed to serve as far as a plot point. This plot point was not about who Picard is right now. It's who he used to be and remembering the man he used to be. Because remember, he gets knocked unconscious, gets brought back to his chateau. And then they're waking him up and he goes, I'm a wallowed old man and I'm wallowing in my own self-pity. And for once in my life, I feel like I need to do something again. And he gets up and he goes, I'm going to leave. And they go, you're going to die. And at least take that stubborn northerner with you. Which, by the way, I love that they finally addressed like the different dressings of the Romulans, like the different looks of them. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I loved those characters, and they served exactly the purpose they needed to serve.
But I would have liked to see them further. They only lasted for so long. It was like, you guys kind of character developed them for the first 3 episodes, and then they're gone. And you Game of Thrones them without Game of Throning them, without killing them. And it was like, wait, where are these awesome characters? Because you kind of almost wanted to see, like, in the final battle, them flying in with a Romulan old school warbird and kicking crap with right next to Riker.
I kind of do.
Or just see when Riker shows up at the end, spoiler alert, and then them in a old warbird. That would have been badass if an old Romulan warbird just right next to.
But
Riker.
I think that would have been too much.
No,
I think it would have been too much.
Just like a quick screen of them. That's all I needed, because Riker would have been like, "Hey, Picard's in trouble." No dialogue whatsoever.
Right.
That's it. They had an old TNG Romulan warbird, and they were at the helm of it. That was it.
Yeah.
No words necessary. I would have been fine. Like, oh, okay. Riker called in all the favors. I would have actually that would have been the scene to even have LaForge and maybe a couple other captains.
That should have been Worf piloting, or Worf at the captain's helm of some other ship. That should have been LaForge at the helm, or at the captain's chair of his ship. Because remember the Voyager episode, right, where he's a captain and he's hunting down Chakotay and Kim.
Yeah.
Ensign Kim. And whatnot. I think that would have been a great just little cameo of them on screen.
Yeah.
Really quick. Give them 7 seconds of airtime.
That's all. No dialogue. Just pan it. Just pan it. I mean, they could have done it from literally a webcam.
Right.
A
little bit more than that, I hope.
Well, but
my connection, not your connection. How's that?
Sure, that'd be great. Phasers to full. Something that's all I needed. The warp drive good. Okay, that's all I needed.
Sorry, it was weapons hot, deflectors to full.
Whatever.
That was Riker's actual command.
You know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
But that would have been everything, and then Worf and his Defiant. Oh, he was a tough little ship, guys.
Still a commander in the Defiant, right?
But
it's a tough little ship.
Yeah, basically, it would have been. I mean, just do something like that. Even what was it? Not Deanna Troi. Beverly Crusher was a captain.
She was a captain on a medical frigate.
Yeah, I mean, even something like that. Everyone just. So, but that scene, I still love that scene, even though it was totally CGI'd of all the same ships, and I kind of wanted to see multiple ships.
I wanted to see more DS9 era, like there's 30 different models of ships,
and it was
instead
all the same
of
model.
we built one frigate, and this is what we're rolling out right now. Like I totally agree with you there, and I agree with it on the Romulan side as well. I wanted to see more than 2 models on each side, and that's all we got, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. So, and I was like,
But overall, that scene was amazingly good.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah!
Because as much as Star Trek has been about those epic space battles and standoffs and everything else, and I will say DS9 and to some extent Voyager took a lot of those space battles to kind of a different level, where it's not like the Star Wars level, like,
fires going. It's basically just top. It's not Top Gun.
Right. It's old school, like naval battles, and I love that look to it with the Defiant kind of weaving in and out, a la like Millennium Falcon. That's about as close as we ever got in Star Trek. But I love that scene if it were just a little bit more diverse, but it didn't really detract from how good that scene was. From the Romulans warping in, and then Picard piloting this little 3-man frigate, little 3-man tugboat essentially, and standing off against an entire fleet of Romulan warbirds. and then going, ignore him. Let's fire on the planet anyway. And the little device Girardi had, and that they used to unfuse the whatever was fused. But Star Trek has always relied on magic and technology both.
Yeah, they did, and I kind of like the wing.
I can't discredit it as much as I didn't like it.
So the last
use your imagination.
Episode 10. It was it like 96 minutes, 97 minutes long? I think something like that. Was it like an hour and a half, or was it?
No, that was 9 and 10 together.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, because it was a 2-part episode technically.
Yeah. So episode 10, the very final one, I think should have been half the time it was. I think it went on too long, but there were. Oh, I shouldn't even say that. Half of it was really good. Half of it was really dumb.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think there were so many good winks and nods that I give it to of old school. The Picard maneuver, and they adapt it. Wink, wink. You know,
I like it.
I like it.
I like
it. I was like, I like it. I don't care.
Girardi could have been played by Wesley Crusher, and it would have been freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like, wink, wink. Oh, the Picard, that's an actual thing. Oh, my God.
Wait, that's an actual thing. You did on the Enterprise. It was the Stargazer, and a long time ago, damn it.
Exactly. I mean, her character, it kept going back and forth, and even as binge watching it, I didn't care for her character that much. But that episode was great. The Golem, that was just like an scapegoat.
It was
pure scapegoat. And
now they said in one of the final interviews with Kurtzman and whoever one of the other guys was that from the beginning we planned on killing off Picard and then resurrecting him as a new man. That's what they said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call BS. I think the story was written as if Picard could have died, and that's where the story ends. You got your miniseries, you got this beautiful send-off with Data, where you're living in Data's consciousness now. They got your brain down there with some activity left, and they downloaded your consciousness, and you get to live with Data for the rest of your days.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they could have gone with it. And then they said, we have this Golem, and if we're resurrected for season 2, Picard is going to be downloaded into this shell where he doesn't have this brain abnormality and, believe it or not, actually has a beating heart in his chest for the first time in 80 years. 78 years. 78. Because he was 22 when he got stabbed through the chest. He's 90 now.
Okay, my problem with the Golem whole thing,
he's also not Borg anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, there are so many things. I agree with
Locutus. No.
I'm betting that they did write it to where possibly an explosion of some kind, where we are to assume he died. They probably wrote it to we are to assume he died, but could leave it open to interpretation, escape pod, whatever, blah blah, transportation. He escaped somehow.
Nexus.
Exactly. We could have been fine with it. Whatever. Q. Now that would have been awesome. That would have been the ultimate.
I don't want the game to end. Sean,
forever.
The game is just beginning.
I mean, how awesome would that's an ending. His ship explodes and he saves everyone.
And he's in the white room again, the white matrix room.
Yeah.
And he's looking around and he's going, Q, where are you? And whatnot, and Q, and all of a sudden he turns around and the camera finds Q in the distance, and Q steps forward, and all of a sudden he's fully illuminated instead of like the top shadow thing, and he goes, Jean-Luc, you didn't want the game to end. I assure you, the game is just beginning.
Even if it was just a voice, the game is not yet ended, Picard.
Right.
Even that, and then the end. That would have been total pleasure. Or
yeah.
I'm gonna watch it again, rewind, gotta get more loot. To where the Golem was like, and he ages, and you made him basically the exact same person to where
He's still a frail old man? Like, that's not how I want to live my last 30 years from 90 to 120.
Technically could have made him live 50 or 40. I mean, they even kind of joke about it of like, maybe give me 20, 30 more years. You know, could have done that. It's like, yeah, you kind of screwed Picard over in this deal. He literally sacrificed his life for all of this, and you screwed him over.
And you put him back into an 80-year-old shell? What the?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, come on. And then I think now even like Q's like, you're not Picard. Mm-hmm. You know, although technically then we could see, as we know, Guinan is coming back for season 2.
Yes.
Which everyone then is assuming Q, but I'm betting it's just a cameo. I'm betting.
John Delancey has said he doesn't want to come back as Q because he doesn't want to have to explain how old he is now. Because Q is from the Q continuum and omnipotent and immortal and.
Seen boys.
I want them to explain Q's aging, that he's effing with Picard. That's what I want to see. You're a frail old man. Oh, I can do that too. And so, like, for 30 seconds, you get, like, the CGI, like, young Q. And then he goes, is that better for your frail human mind?
Yeah. No, well, honestly, actually, it's funny.
I can hear his voice in my head right now.
Oh, it's
explaining to Picard why he looks so much older.
Well, okay, so what's interesting you said, I think it was episode 3, they actually dive into the part where Raffi and Picard get kicked out of Starfleet because they're rebelling.
Right.
And they did some de-aging on Picard, or Sir Patrick Stewart.
Right.
It looked phenomenal. It looked
amazingly
fantastic.
good.
I was like, that's the Picard I want. Give me that the whole series. I mean, that really looked like TNG. Oh, I believe that from Insurrection to this, that looked like the man I believe. And then once you hit that scene, and then he goes into the, it's been 15 years later, and I'm more frail, depressed. I believed that Picard.
Yes.
More, now he's more distressed. I believe the extra wrinkles, he kind of does have more of a hunchback-esque going a lot of the time. I believe that because of the depression. Yeah, you could do that to Q of what you're stating. Are we getting anything on the chat? I don't have chat open. So
I'm looking at chat and here we go. Epos Vox, wash hands, wash hands, wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. So stream critique incoming. I want you to stream critique what you think of my new Elcar's background, because I freaking think it's amazing. So Adam, you feel free to stream critique this all you'd like.
Epos Vox, he can come over and set up my streaming service.
John needs a lot of help. John tried to do a live stream this last week for the first time. He was on for 3.5 hours trying to brew a beer.
I did it off of a Chromebook.
And I guarantee there was about 20 minutes of silence at one point.
Oh, plenty of time of that, yes. But on the same time, Epos Vox does it inside of a studio. I'm having to do it while watching a 3-year-old who wants me to be inside of a car, in front of the front lawn, in the backyard, and I still got to watch my beer. So if you can help me set up my system to do all of that at 1080p, 60 frames per second, at a cheap budget, I will do that.
You realize I have like 9 capture cards, right?
Yes, and you're not giving them to me.
Would you like one?
Duh.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so next week, John has no excuses not to come to you at least 1080p 60.
I do. It's called COVID-19.
I can drop it at your doorstep, soak it in Lysol, and you can pick it up off your doorstep the next day. And by Tuesday and Wednesday, we're good to go.
Damn.
No excuse.
Laziness.
That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
I'm too drunk to set it up.
How's your beer going? Because this is.
I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Well, it was only 12, wasn't it?
It was a 12 ounce.
12 ounce. Okay.
I think it's 11.5, but yeah, 12 ounce. See, I'm feeling pretty good.
Still enjoying this.
No,
Anyway, let's talk about, in the last couple of minutes, the final couple of scenes in episode 10.
All right, so
because we haven't dove into that yet.
No, okay. So I'll dive into mine because here's my thoughts. It's not as fresh as yours, and then that way.
So let's set the scene. Romulans come in. Picard stops the Romulans ever so slightly, like delays them. Picard talks to Soji ever so briefly. Federation comes in, and everyone charges their lasers up. And Picard, Mexican standoff. Everyone, but like 1,000 guns going this way and 1,000 guns going the other way. Like we're gonna shoot, and people are gonna die. Yeah. And Picard all of a sudden grabs the back of his head, and Girardi looks back at him and goes, "I know." And he goes, "Give me 20 cc's of this. I need to talk to Soji. Connect me to Soji. Open channel. I want everyone to hear it."
Everyone needs to hear this.
He talks to Soji, and he says, "I'm giving you my life." And he already said that. I hope this one last thing can help change your mind. It's my life. And then he goes, "We would not be defending you if we didn't want to help you. And the choice is yours. Turn off the relay, and we will help you. If you open that relay, everyone is going to die. The choice is yours. You have the floor. It's your... My hands are tied. I can't do anything at this point. But if I can give my life to help you, I absolutely will, and I already have." Right. And Riker talks to the other admiral, and it's freaking amazing. I love that Riker scene because it is old school Riker, and I love it.
Quintessential. Honestly, I have to make a quick point on the Riker Deanna Troi episode, which was not planned earlier on.
Right.
I still honestly like that episode.
That is the best I have ever seen Deanna Troi.
I liked the two of them together. I thought people say that's not Riker with the a burnt tomato. No, that is quintessential.
Totally
Riker.
is.
That is total Riker. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he constantly played and messed around with his trumpet and did cool stuff. Messed around with cooking eggs and like, I burnt this. Oh, my bad. Whatever. Did that in TNG.
Let me put this into some perspective. I'm one person at work. I am the CTO of an organization. I have employees underneath me. I talk a certain way. I act a certain way. I demand a certain demeanor from my employees. I demand respect. I go about my business in a certain way. When I go home and I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old and a wife and a mortgage and bills to pay, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
The only Riker we knew for 9 years between Star Trek and the movies that followed was the professional Riker. And then in Nemesis...
We had Playboy Riker.
Right. We had Playboy Riker. He's on board the Klingon ship as part of like the learning abroad program.
The
exchange program. And the Klingon goes, they're wondering if you could handle them. The female Klingons. One or both. Right. Like, we've known that Riker. But all of a sudden, Nemesis, Riker gets married to Troi and goes, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to have a family. I'm ready to do this. I guarantee you the Riker at home and the Riker raising a 12-year-old girl who lost her 18-year-old brother looks a lot different than Commander Riker, First Officer of the USS Enterprise and Captain of the USS Titan.
Yeah, exactly.
As a father, I totally bought into what he was selling.
Exactly. I honestly I thought that was huge. I honestly thought that episode was totally thrown in there just for pure fan service, and I thought it did a phenomenal job.
It was thrown in for fan service, and I didn't care.
Exactly. I didn't care, and I thought it actually portrayed perfectly into the whole Riker explained to Picard, this is what a parent is. Mm-hmm. You're doing it wrong. You're trying to act to Soji like a captain,
right?
Not a parent,
right?
And because you're saying that she's Data's daughter, and you're still acting like she's a cybernetic life form that hey, I'm your father's captain. Respect me. No, she's a child. She doesn't understand what you are. She's more advanced than Data, has emotion, and is still learning these things. And I think Riker basically portrayed Riker and Troi, like you were saying, portrayed the best, almost like parents. We went through huge sorrow of raising a child, seeing it to I believe, teenage years, 13, I'm going to assume 13, 14 years, and then watching him die. I don't wish anything upon that to any of my worst enemies. That would be horrific. And then on top of that, having a child watch that too, and then raising that child. If you can show some glimpse of, hey, I burnt pizza, and happiness, that's great.
I go to work and I work with networking professionals and technical people all day long, and then I come home and it's, hey, wild girl of the woods. That is totally me at home.
Yeah,
that is me at home with my 7-year-old daughter and my 2-year-old daughter. And the inside jokes and the laughter and the games and it's a different person. Absolutely, it is.
Oh yeah. I totally play it up for my 3-year-old. I'm like, I want to make sure you don't feel any pain, any suffering whatsoever that I may have felt through the day. I want to make sure that this day, that the point from when you see me to the point that when you go to bed is the best that you see of me.
Yes.
So I feel
the best, the goofy, the most embarrassing. That's
exactly,
totally me.
I want to create memories every second that I have. But so I feel that episode really portrayed that, and then really portrayed when Riker was talking to Picard or Deanna was talking to Picard. They felt that pain. I felt that was one of the best episodes.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It really was. As a slow character development, drawn out, on the planet, no Borg, no Romulan, no one chasing us.
Perfect. I was fine with that. I wouldn't have changed.
Do you breathe? Do you eat? Do you like tomatoes? Have you ever had a tomato? Do you want a tomato?
Yeah.
It was a great episode.
And at the same time, even the character that played Soji, actually, I think best performance too. Actually, she did the whole head tilt of the
head tilt in that episode
was perfect.
And then I love Riker switching back and forth between fatherhood mode and commander first officer mode. Yeah. Just in light switch on off kind of thing.
Yeah.
He goes, let me just tell you what I know. I know that you're on the run, and I know that you told me to activate the cloak, which means Romulans. I know you're worried, which means Tal Shiar. And I know she's not who she thinks she is, because I'd know that head tilt anywhere. She's Data through and through. Stop me if I've got anything wrong so far.
Oh,
goes, doing pretty good.
100% poker Riker.
Yes.
That was poker Riker right there, of saying, I can read people any day of the week. Gambler Riker when he's going to Quarks, and
I've already taken it off your tab.
Exactly, yeah. And I put you out of house and home, and Quark's just sitting there. All right, whatever.
By the way, the best cameo Quark has ever made.
Oh, so bad. Although the cameo of mentioned of Quark
on Free Cloud,
I thought was fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes. Anyway, let's talk about the ending scene.
So the ending scene. I believe you're referring to similar to what you were saying. Okay, so we are Picard.
So Picard opens his eyes.
So okay. So are we?
Picard opens his eyes. He's sitting in a recliner and he's got a fireplace next to him, and he goes, God, another damn dream, kind of thing.
Okay. So we're here. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Data goes, "This is no dream, Captain.
This is probably first or second best scene in the series."
Yes. Oh.
And in all honesty, probably right up there with the poker scene in episode 1.
It's absolutely these two scenes with Data.
Yeah.
These two scenes. The poker scene on 10 Forward, on the opening shot of Picard and what I'm going to call the ending scene without the outro. Because there's the ending scene, and then there's the outro where they're on the bridge, and they're like, okay, let's on to our next adventure. But the ending scene where Picard is in this
dream state.
Old mansion in a dream with Data. And it's just Picard and Data and nothing else.
Yeah, so essentially he's in I believe, a server memory of Data.
Yeah.
In some kind of computer database with Data's brain, full brain, from his long lost brother, which I still love, and I called kind of, by the way, I did call this. I said that episode 9, Picard's going to beam down and he's going to find Data. Well, I found Data's brother.
He found Soong.
He found Soong. We're very dang close. So I was close. But he still found Data, technically. He
found Data. He just found Alton Data.
Well, no, his brain was in the... So I was right.
You were right.
So he's in this server where Data's positronic matrix has been fully reconstructed by Data's long-lost brother and Dr. I forget his... not Pulaski. That's the horrible one. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so Picard wakes up in his dream and he goes, "Oh God, another damn dream."
Yeah.
And you hear Data's voice before you see Data, and I think that's an important point.
Yeah.
I think it's Captain, you are not dreaming.
Yeah.
And he walks and kind of walks into frame, and he's wearing his Nemesis uniform.
Yeah.
Not the old school uniform.
Not the old
school.
Yeah,
the uniform he died in.
Death uniform.
Right. And he sits down in the chair across from Picard, and he goes, "Are you wearing the same clothes you were when you died?" And
Picard, question. Very
right.
question.
And Picard goes,
"Am I dead?
Am I dead?" And Data goes, "Yes, Captain." Like, just matter-of-factly, as if it was another question.
Yeah.
Data, how far are we from Romulus? We are approximately, 27.3 hours from...
It was like...
It was...
Yeah.
Yes, Captain. That was a magical scene. So it really was.
So through this whole sequence, Picard talks to him about death and trying to resurrect Data and save Data. Data then goes and explains
He goes, "Captain, I would like you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
When you walk back through that door." And he goes, "I'm going to go out." "Yes, Captain. You're going to walk out through that door, but I want you to do me a favor." So he knows
he's going to be rescued.
Right. He goes, he starts walking towards the light, and he goes, "You wanted me to do you a favor?" "Yes, Captain. I would like to die." And he goes, "I don't understand." And he goes, "I would like to know, even if just for a few fleeting moments, that my life is finite, because it gives meaning to friendships, to love, to relationships, to the human experience, because
to life in general,
because we know it's not forever."
Yeah.
And if I could know that, even for a few moments, it would make my life and my sacrifice complete.
Yeah. Which is something he was striving for through all of TNG. There is that theme of humanity through all of TNG, and even the movies of First Contact and Insurrection, of Data battling with being human and what that means to him.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the culmination of all of that, and it is a beautifully scripted, beautifully acted, I think actually even directed, voice editing, music editing wise, all done extremely well.
I will say this is some of the best cinematography. So director of photography, director of storytelling I have ever seen in my life. And I don't give that praise very lightly, because I do have that photographic eye. I do have a deep appreciation for what it is to capture something on film. And the way in which Picard was filmed was breathtaking the entire time.
Yeah.
Regardless of the scene,
yeah.
I was constantly awestruck by how beautiful this series was.
It really seemed like it was a extremely high budget, I want to talk Marvel plus cinematographic level production.
But it was intimate.
I'm saying they almost seemed like they spent that much money of like, we know the importance of how this is played out. And
the production value is certainly there, and they used the right equipment and they had the right look the entire time. But I'm talking about the framing and the really shallow depth of field and the lighting and the colors and the tapestry and the texture and everything that went into literally every single shot in this series.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on film. And I mean, you can take any movie you want, you can take any TV show you want, put it up against how breathtakingly gorgeous the cinematography was in Picard. I mean, just...
Oh yeah. No, I 100% agree, and we've been seeing this throughout, all of our weekly 10 weeks of it. Of that, yeah. There were some episodes that obviously you can't free club. You can't do anything with that. That's all staged. But episode 1, where there episode 2, 3, 9, and 10, there is actual scenery in the background, and even in staged settings, like you were saying, there's great cinematography, camera work. When someone moves, the camera moves with them.
The camera was always moving and always telling the story along with the characters. There was never a static shot anywhere in this series.
I never felt like I was a viewer behind a window. Yeah. I always felt like my eyes were the camera.
And you take it into like very, very subtle shots. You take it into when Rios is opening his cabinet of his Starfleet keepsakes and going back and looking back at his old captain and finding the picture of Jada and whatnot. And he's looking at that. Just look at that scene and the cinematography that goes into that in particular scene. Because he opens this box and as he flips the flap open, it does this really tight cropped shot of the top of the lid as he flips it up with the Starfleet logo with like a little bit of grime and a thumbprint right on top of the logo.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such an innocuous shot, but it told so much story and history in about 2 seconds of film. And it's just, it really was like a masterclass in how you should shoot something onto film and tell a story visually without having to say words.
So this kind of comes back to...
And if you're bringing out whiskey, so am I.
Yeah, well, some Jameson. Just little snifters. But this comes back to a bit of, I think, the story of over-dissecting. Now, I think they gave almost a bit too much for people to over-dissect. Sorry, let me back up there. It is a beautiful cinematographic, whole feature 10-episode film. However, I think people took it too far to where they were over-dissecting so many things and not just enjoying the ride. Now, there were some to dissect, but like Jeff was saying, there's the whole scene with Rios and looking through his captain and the thumbprint. But people would be like, oh, look at that corner. Look at X. It's this color. It's this shade. Oh, there's a character in the background. And there's this trinket in the background. He obviously got this from X, and it means this. No. Just take it for what it is. It's a beautiful cinematography. That's the wrong word. Jeff, what is the right word?
Cinematographic.
Thank you. Cinematographic scene that is showing emotion. And and people just are super fans are just over dissecting it. And I think you or I early on were to that fault. We over dissected.
I was totally guilty of that. Yeah, I was absolutely guilty.
We were over dissecting, and there were plenty. But the thing is, though, there was plenty of fan service for that to almost give us. So we kind of overindulged ourselves. Right. But that is the beauty of kind of taking a second, third look and okay, let's take a step back, hang on, let's enjoy this for the ride. Now let's enjoy this okay, technically they did do this in TNG, DS9, Voyager, but they didn't have the ability quite like they did with Picard. And the streaming services and the rights that streaming services and violence nowadays allow.
This is not broadcast television.
Exactly, yes.
You can do more with it.
You can do more with it. You're having to pay to view this thing. So, yeah, there's going to be more gore. There's going to be more edginess. Obviously, yes, technically, you would think in modern day from 30 years ago when TNG first operated, what would the future look like? Okay, now, in their time, which is only, 30 years plus, what does the future look like for them? Yes, technology is probably going to be holographic, swiping, because we're already close to that right now. Star Trek has been one of the huge influencers in modern technology, so they can't go back to tablets.
There's a reason the Motorola Razr looked like the Motorola Razr and why flip phones became flip phones. It's because it was the original Star Trek communicator that flipped open. That's why we got that tech to look that way.
In all honesty, too, if you actually look at Star Trek Insurrection, already those look different.
Yeah.
So
the movies looked vastly different from the TV series because it was done by different people with different cinematographers, with different directors of visual arts, with different directors of CGI. Yeah. And because each of those people have individual visions for what it should look like. There's nothing wrong with looking different.
No, there was nothing. And then there was a lot of critics that were saying, oh, Star Trek would never do this. Well, technically, yes, they are. And though they're being more political now, they would have never done this.
Oh, give me a break.
Exactly. You have to take it
Star Trek, not political. Give me a break.
You have to take it in context of, yes, you can't be this peaceful utopia. I take both with a grain of salt because technically in older versions of Star Trek, they portray and physically state we are peaceful. Picard himself stated, we are money and positions of power are no longer a thing of the future. We are all about benefiting man.
Picard says that while also living on a private chateau while Raffi lives in a shack.
Okay, yeah, then that's one big huge issue.
But I like it. But I like it.
I think
everyone has the services available to them, but not everyone takes advantage.
Yes.
And not everyone is given the same lot in life.
Yes.
And this is the first time Star Trek has really dove into that aspect of it. Because
I think they have because of the colonies. I think they have because colonies have always been
off Earth. Yes, they've dealt with it before off Earth. This is the first time we've seen on Earth that there's a disequity in classes and a disequity in the people living there. And not everyone has it the same way. Not everyone has the easy life,
I have everything I need, so I don't need it. I have and I'm good to go.
Right, exactly. This is the first time we've seen disequity on Earth in any Star Trek.
Although I don't think that's true. I think Raffi chose to be that way because we see
she did.
So it's not showing that. It's showing that Picard inherited. We know Picard inherited his chateau. Mm-hmm. We know that.
It's Chateau Picard from the first Picards who landed on Mars and founded the first colonies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a wealthy lineage.
Yes. But we know that, and then we know that he states multiple times that the Federation is not like that. We don't talk about money. We talk about the benefit of man. Where Raffi seems to be I'm so distressed about her job, her position after leaving Starfleet because Picard got her kicked out. That she's like, screw this whole system. I'm doing my own thing. And that's why she doesn't have the luxury.
I'm going to go live in a van down in the desert.
Down by where Kirk fought that lizard.
Right?
You know, essentially, that's what she stated. And soak up a bunch of drugs.
Right.
But still, at the same time, she probably had that trailer, probably had a replicator, probably had transportation, which we know she did because she kept going back and forth in places, and there's free taxis everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, because that was the stupidest thing ever, by the way. Picard having to take a taxi when there's transporters, which transports from ships can go to galaxy to galaxy.
Well, as long as you're in orbit, you can beam down to the planet. So it
Anywhere
seems like you would have a transporter network that could reach you anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, so that was the stupidest. And then they're in the future, so they should have even better technology than that.
Right.
Okay,
but they did play on the class disequity a little bit in DS9 with Cisco's father still running the restaurant down in New Orleans and whatnot, and he goes, Dad, why are you still running this restaurant? Like, you could retire, you can go do whatever you want. It's because I enjoy it. No, it's because you probably have to, right?
Yeah. No,
like they didn't come out and say it, but
well, that's why I think because he wasn't coexisting with the ecosystem where Raffi was like, I don't want to be part of this.
Right.
And I want to be the nomad. But I'm betting technology is still cheap. Yes, we know that monetary value is still rampant in the universe because of DS9. We know that
Raffi and Rios had a 2-strip platinum bet that the droid would be dead.
That's what I was going to say. Platinum. Platinum is still a thing in the galaxy.
You owe me 2 strips of latinum. The droid's alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a line from Picard.
So we know that there actually is monetary value in the universe. It's just not within the Federation. And even if I remember correctly, aren't there like possibly first movies credits, Federation credits, or am I thinking Star Wars?
I don't recall anything like that. There's Republic credits in Star Wars.
That's the Republic credit, but I want to say Journey Home. There's some kind of creditary
No,
system.
Voyage Home, there was nothing like that. They didn't even know how to swear in Voyage Home.
The one where the undiscovered country, to where they're stuck in the ice, the Klingon ice.
Well, we ignore that one.
I don't know. I don't mind that one.
It's the second worst from starting a motorcycle that you found on the bridge of a wrecked cruiser that's 90 years old that somehow still had good gas in it.
Is that Undiscovered Country, or is that... No, that's... What?
No, that's Star Trek Beyond.
Beyond, yeah. Beyond is way better than Undiscovered.
It is, but it's that bad.
It's still better than that, so I have to place it. And it's better than Star Trek the movie. Although, I will state...
The motion picture was terrible.
No, you know what? I have to state, it's not as bad as I remember. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and I watched it about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not as bad. If you take it into context of when it came out and what they were trying to do, it's not as bad.
I'll give it some of that. I'll give it some of that. I, personally, am going to piss...
cinematography is actually fantastic in it.
I'm going to piss about 30% of my audience off right now. I hate the Wrath of Khan. I hate it. I hate it. I hate
Demonetized.
Right. I hate the Wrath of Khan.
No.
Do you know why?
Best
you
movie
talk
ever.
you talk about Star Trek Picard takes some like wild leaps in the story, and you talk about this and you talk about that.
No.
Go back and watch The Wrath of Khan and the original 1977 Mad Max. Those are terrible.
Oh, Mad Max, I agree with you.
Terrible movies.
No.
Because they don't tell any cohesive story. They jump from one scene to the other without telling you what the heck they're doing.
What are you talking about? No, Wrath of Khan's fantastic.
Wrath of Khan is so difficult to follow. My wife watched, before we went and watched Star Trek Into Darkness, where Khan comes back as, Benedict Cumberbund and whatnot. Right. But I said, it's kind of following the Wrath of Khan line, so let's watch the Wrath of Khan, and then we'll go watch Star Trek Into Darkness. And she goes, okay. And she's not a Star Trek fan. We rewatched Wrath of Khan, and she goes, what the hell was that?
Well, that's because you gave her too much whiskey.
No.
Vodka?
My wife's celiac. She doesn't drink hardly any hard liquor.
Tequila. Well, that's obviously not true because you had to cut this live stream to help her drink liquor.
This much is true. You're not wrong. But that night, she was stone cold sober.
You say that.
And she goes, what the hell was that? And I said, and I went, it's the Wrath of Khan. It's like one of the best Star Trek movies ever. Yeah. And she goes, it was terrible. I couldn't follow anything. I didn't know what was going on. And I kind of looked at it from her perspective, and I went, you're not really wrong. Because there are so many random scene changes and weird scenes thrown into the middle of that movie that don't tell much of the story. They're just kind of ugh, there he is. And then it fades to the next scene.
Well, okay, I'll give you that.
Storytelling, it's crap. From a storytelling perspective, Wrath of Khan is crap.
Okay, hang on, let me...
And I'm not wrong.
Was that 81?
81, I think.
Yeah. 82. So we were close. We were both close.
Right. But you're talking about the same era. Oh, John dropped out. Oh, no. I'm back to Dual Jeffs.
Hang on. Again, I don't know what.
Wrath of Khan. If you're gonna take the route I think you're gonna take, I'm gonna head you off at the pass and say Wrath of Khan came out in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Both of those tell a fully cohesive story the whole way through.
Oh, you do not talk about Return of the Jedi and say it has a cohesive story.
I will say the teddy bears had their own place, but at least they explained them and then used them. Okay?
You're saying it's good?
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying in the context of their storytelling mechanisms, I was not lost from scene 2 to scene 32. As to how all of a sudden we're fighting teddy bears in a forest.
No. You have to take this into context. Because Star Trek is saying, hey, we cannot be Star Wars, so we have to do something different. We cannot do this flashy stuff. We have to tell a story. And then because 1979 or 8, I believe, OG Star Trek movie, they were competing against Star Wars.
77 release of Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. We have to do something completely different. We have to tell, we're going to go completely off the grid. A slow story.
And the motion picture was the way they did that?
What? No, well, they...
Really?
Honestly, I watched a documentary on this, and it made sense to me. They went against the grain. They said, hey, we have to tell storytelling, not big flashy firefights and everything like this all over. And it's technically a samurai movie with Western culture of a cowboy versus samurai, which technically what Star Wars was.
Right.
We're going to tell...
Star Wars is a spaghetti Western with some samurai influences set in the modern future, which is actually about 200 years before us.
Exactly.
I get it.
So Star Wars says, hey, here's the culture we built up. Let's continue that and roll the dice. Very huge storytelling. And in all honesty, William Shatner's performance, I used to hate it, but I rewatched it. It's not horrible because it does tell a story. Now, we're not talking motion picture. We're talking Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan, again, some of Shatner's, and there's some of the best storytelling in Wrath of Khan, and emotion in Wrath of Khan. Now, I'm not saying that there's not horrible storytelling, but that's also part of the time. I mean, you watch 90% of the most movies back in that time.
They're not good.
They're not good.
Right.
But for the time, they were.
Right.
And certain parts still hold up. You were going to tell me that the scene where Kirk loses Spock is not still a good scene.
The scene where Kirk loses Spock is a good scene.
It is a good scene.
I don't diminish it.
And then there are still scenes within Wrath of Khan that are still good. I'm not denying that there's stupid parts of Wrath of Khan, but we take it into context. And in
context,
1982, 30 years plus, come on, of cinematography, effects, storytelling of the time.
Yes.
We have to take it into context.
Yes, I do, but I compare Wrath of Khan to the best of the best that 1982 was bringing us. 1982 was bringing us the first Indiana Jones. We were one year before Return of the Jedi.
Not best of sci-fi. You can't
I'm talking best of cinematography. I'm talking best of storytelling movies. 1982.
Honestly, I have no problem with half of the cinematography, because even within that, they do reference certain things that I'm betting the budget Star Trek Wrath of Khan had versus some of these other movies, I'm betting a lot less than some.
From Star Trek?
Yeah.
They had a space shuttle named after them.
A motion picture was before them and failed.
Right.
And they're like, give us more money to make another movie. Yeah, no. Hang on. Budget of Khan. Okay. 11 million. It was 11 million in 1982. Yep. So what are the other movies that you were stating that were better for cinematography storytelling?
I'll say Empire Strikes Back. 2 years earlier from Wrath of Khan.
Budget. 18 million. So 7 million more.
Right. 7 million of that going to special effects and space battles.
Oh, special effects and what, storytelling?
Which didn't have much to do with the storytelling. That was the asteroid field.
Special effects and I'm betting that special effects and audio, which audio we all know. And
Skywalker sound is renowned.
Mm-hmm. So that's actually huge. I bet that is huge. Now, Empire Strikes Back, huge, fantastic, great movie.
Yeah.
And also on top of that too, they did push the envelope. Skywalker sound pushed Skywalker or whatever George Lucas called his studio at the time, pushed the envelope on a lot of innovation of things.
It was Lucasfilm and Skywalker sound.
Yeah. Lucasfilm pushed the innovation of a lot of things back then to where Universal Studios, I believe at the time, was doing Wrath of Khan. That was they weren't banking on it.
Right.
So 11 million was quite gracious.
Yeah.
And in 1982, 7 million is a lot.
Oh, it's certainly a lot. I'll give you that much. But I'm looking at a lot of movies that came out the same year that told much better stories on camera than Wrath of Khan did.
Budget of 1982.
Indiana Jones, 1982.
Which Indiana Jones? Which one is
was that? Temple of Doom? Or was that?
I'm trying to look up like all 1982. Okay, so we got, I think E.T.
We're way over time, but I really don't care. 1981 was Raiders of the Lost Ark. 1984 was Temple of Doom. So 1981, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, Raiders of the Lost Ark that was great storytelling, and that was Spielberg at his prime. But again, too, these are sci-fi movies trying to do cinematography that was the other thing. You got to understand, though, that cinematography in those spaceship battles, that took up most of the budget, to where Indiana Jones was like, well, most of this is just travel.
We got to fly everyone to Egypt.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
I get that. But there were some movies that still told 100% cohesive stories scene to scene. My point for Wrath of Khan is it didn't do that.
Okay, I'm not trying to disagree that it doesn't be as cohesive. I'm stating for the time, it was a fantastic movie. In modern times, and for the time that it was a good movie, good sci-fi. It was a fantastic sci-fi movie. Now, there were other movies that were easily able to adjust their storytelling and cinematography because it was cheaper and planted on Earth. And for storytelling, it made more sense that, yes, it's sure. Here's 11 million. And yeah, you could do a Godfather, no problem, because this makes sense. But trying to have flying spaceships for $11 million and have the story make sense? Okay, that's going to be kind of hard because most of your budget's going to go to effect. So, but then taking that low budget essence and transporting it 35 years, okay, there are snippets of that are still fantastic and that are still considered cinematography gold. Otherwise, Star Trek Into Darkness wouldn't have tried to copy it.
Steve brings up a great point. 1982, the only sci-fi
Steve
competition
can suck it. I don't care what he states.
Was Blade Runner and Tron, and comparing those, it was comparable.
Oh, and then yeah, Steve.
And I agree. I will
awesome.
agree. I will say, I think both of those told better stories than Wrath of Khan.
Cinematography. Wrath of Khan told a way better cinematography story than Tron.
Blade Runner told a way better story than Wrath of Khan did, though.
Which Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. Original Blade Runner.
Original? Well, okay. That was way too flippant. No, actually, I don't think so. I disagree with that. I 100% disagree with that because that honestly was a flop, if I remember correctly, and didn't become a cult classic till later on in life. Because if I remember correctly, Harrison Ford flopped in that movie, and that whole thing flopped, and then later on was deemed as, oh no, hang on a second, this is awesome because it told a great story.
See, I don't remember that, but that's also slightly before my recollection of going to movies.
Exactly. My remembrance of Blade Runner isn't till the
Steve
90s.
agrees Blade Runner was better than Wrath of Khan, and I'll agree with you. Khan was better than Tron.
Yeah, so
if you're comparing them, Wrath of Khan's still in the middle. And if I'm taking it in the mix of a lot of different sci-fi films from that era, and I'm going to include Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, both those movies are still better than Wrath of Khan.
Still, but that still puts Wrath of Khan is still kind of in the middle.
It's
low end middle, but it's still middle.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5 is still a C minus, and it's still passing
I rank
grade.
it 2 out of 5.
That's still passing grade.
Yeah.
I'm not denying it's not bad, but there are particular.
Somehow Star Trek Picard got turned into a which is better, Wrath of Khan or Return of the Jedi.
Oh no, the Return of the Jedi is way better than Wrath of Khan.
Right? 9 months later. That's all it was.
Yeah, with a $7 million bigger budget, which at the time would be about $100 million.
Still tells a better story, and that's what we're talking about.
$100 million difference to today's inflation standards.
What was that Martian movie, the Disney one that flopped at $1.2 billion? Or
that was John.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was it?
So you can't use that argument.
No, but that's just because you can't throw money at a movie, but doesn't mean that there weren't good aspects of Wrath of Khan. Wrath of the Khan brought the whole aspect of Y and Z axis fighting. Yes.
I didn't say there weren't any good things of Wrath of Khan. I said it didn't tell a good story.
It did tell a good
Overall.
story. No.
Sorry. Let me back up. Overall, I think it told a good story. I think the whole battle with Khan told a good story. I think
cinematography, I think, is
sequence of events and storytelling within the film are pretty crap.
Okay, yeah,
that's my defense.
I can agree with that. But I think that equates to the time budget they had.
Part of it's time, but
part
part of it is just, did you storyboard this out and play it through? Because it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think they were like, look, we saw that the motion picture sucked and didn't work budgetly. We have to change the way we are doing
John
things.
Carter.
John Carter, yeah. I know it's John something.
Yeah.
But
John Wick? No, that one was good.
No.
Hold on.
Yeah, John Wick was fantastic. That was a great low budget.
Steve says, to be fair, Beastmaster was also 1982.
Yeah, there you go. So now
3 out of 6. 3 out of 6.
That's a hard C. That's total passing.
Yeah. Total average.
Total
C
average.
flat.
C flat. So we're good.
D's
to go.
make doctors.
So, okay. Let's
refocus and then wrap up. Because it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So Picard. Overall, here's what I give it as a.
Give it a letter grade. Give it a letter plus minus.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. So as an overall, between watching it, binge watching, and episodic watching, I give it. Oh, that's actually really hard.
Right.
I'm gonna give it C plus. C plus. I give it. That's what I give it. C plus. 7, 8, 7, 9. I will definitely binge watch it again before season 2. I don't know if I will binge watch it again in 3 years.
I think that's fair. I'm going to go slightly higher. I give it a B flat. I give it a B solid.
8.0?
I give it an 8.4.
Okay.
It is kind of like, I don't want to go like 8.7. I don't want to like marginalize that B plus, but like an 8.4 where you're like trending B minus, but still B. So you're a B with no modifier is kind of where I'm at. I thought it was very, very good. Very, very good. Not a lot of it left me very disappointed, especially on the full rewatch over 3 days. Like I said, I watched every single episode over 3 days.
And maybe I have to finish mine, and maybe that's what'll change my mind to a B. But
that's what kind of raised it for me, because I would fully agree with you at C plus if I went on the original viewing of Picard, because the tempo of the episodes is a little disjointed to me. Okay. There's some episodes that feel really fast and frantic and make kind of leaps that you wouldn't expect. And there's others that are kind of more drawn out. And you're like, yeah, I already saw this plot twist coming like 20 minutes ago. Can we just get on with it? And then they get on with it and you're like, that's your reveal. Like that's as best you can do kind of thing.
Yeah, who cares?
But if
who wants flying flowers in the space?
I think the biggest thing with Picard is they stuck to the 44-minute episodic time limit that every single episode needs to have. Where if you look at Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and a couple of the other long drawn-out miniseries that have been popular as of late, some of the episodes are an hour and 30 minutes, some of them are 49 minutes. And I think they could have cut some of the episodes shorter and drawn a couple of them out and kept the tempo the same throughout the entire episode. And that would take away 80% of my criticism for what I saw.
That I 100% agree with.
I think they were so rigid in how they timed this that it didn't give some episodes enough time to breathe, and others I couldn't catch my breath. I think is the best way I can possibly put this. When I watch it with no gaps, and I don't watch the previously on Star Trek Picard, and I don't go through that whole thing, and I just get right into the next episode. It picks up right where I wanted it to pick up, and it tells the story that I would want it to tell. And either I'm in a like settling down point, we're kind of like in a like a valley, and then sometimes we're in the valley and we're coming up out of the valley and we're ready to like climb into the episode. And I felt there were like 4 major like crests and valleys with the whole series, rather than the 10 that they ended up delivering us. Okay. And so I think if they had just altered the tempo, I think this is an A- overall. But I think in the way that it's delivered over 10 episodes with there have to be breaks here.
Yeah.
I think it just cut it up a little bit too much. I don't and on the second viewing, I don't judge episode 2 or 4 nearly as harshly as I did originally.
No, I agree with that. I didn't I agree with you. I didn't anticipate episode 2 wasn't actually as bad as I remember.
Right.
Binge watching it. Episode 3, yes, but in episode 2, no, not so much. And I do agree that if it wasn't almost a super fan cut to make it more like a 8, maybe 9 episode-esque, I probably would enjoy binge watching that more so than the production cut. That's kind of what I was saying early on when I said, it would have been nice if this was like 5, 6 episodes. Maybe could have cut it and then did 2 stories. Because, I would have almost rather complained that, hey, I would have really wished you told more story instead of you told too much.
Right. So Picard in all, I think, is 460 minutes. I could have done with 390.
Yeah.
Not even cutting an entire episode, but just cutting one short and drawing another one longer.
45 minutes less. 45 minutes less is really
all it needed. That's all it needed. And this would have been an A-.
Yeah, exactly. There are enough scenes to cut out to make 45 minutes, and you draw everything together. If you ended this episode here and ended this episode here,
right?
Fantastic. But it's just the way they edited everything was just like, oh, you had to get that 59-minute, 48-minute episode in.
We need to draw this one out another 4 minutes. Can we draw this one scene out?
Yeah, I know. Like, you literally ruined the episode.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that statement. I still stand fast at mine. C plus. Ask.
And to be fair, we're only like 6 or 7 points apart.
Exactly.
We're not that far
and
apart.
And then, I only watched episode 7. You watched episode 10. So possibly I could adjust there. And then on top of that, if they edit it differently, I almost kind of wanted to do while I was watching these 7 episodes, like, I want to do my own super cut to just like, Jeff, watch this. This is so much better.
Right.
I really wanted to kind of do that.
Yeah.
I think it's true. Way better than Discovery. Honestly, I actually went and looked up the scores for Discovery and this just prior to this, and Discovery is only 3 points behind Picard. And I thought, like, no.
There's no possible way.
Discovery should be a 6. And it's a 7.3 on IMDb, and Picard is like a
7.8.
7.8. Yeah. And it's like, no. Discovery needs to be like a 6.4.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Although, it's funny. There is a reference to Discovery. I think I caught the Picard's Romulan, the female Irish chick.
Yeah.
She mentions talking about, oh, what are you seeing? Are you seeing angels in the sky? And I think that was actually a reference to Discovery.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's again, rewatching, and honestly, it might even take a third rewatching.
I caught a lot more references, both foreshadowing for future events and references to past events on my second watch through than I did the first time through.
I think the first time watch through, most people are looking for TNG Easter eggs. And
yes. Yeah.
And then it is the second watch through, possibly third watch through, that they are trying to find the new lineage, which are finally falling acceptance into. Which a lot of it isn't horrible, but yeah, Discovery is pretty horrible. So yeah, whatever. Although the rumors of the whole 7 of 9. Actually, I wouldn't mind.
Star Trek Rangers?
Star Trek. Oh, I would love to see that. Rangers, but even the Section 17. Not horrible
31.
Idea. 31, yeah, Section 31. Not a horrible idea.
Only if they bring back Bashir.
Well,
and Garrick.
Yeah, but they're doing more of a intro, I think, because it's from the
formation of Section 31.
Yeah, it's a discovery aspect. I'm like, I agree with you, Bashir.
I feel gross.
Yeah,
I need a shower.
Yeah, it's like, they don't do a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 11:21. I think we did a lot.
I think we did. I think we more than covered what we set out to cover.
I think viewership has probably died out by now.
Yeah, we're at 30.
It's the lowest we've ever been.
Wow.
I think it's.
But honestly, we're holding the same number since we did at 9:30 when we started. Sorry, 9:30 we were at 60 when we started this chat. So we're at 38 now. We've been slowly dying off, and I'm sure we.
Whiskey. Yep. What happened? It didn't break, so I'm good.
This has been episode 128 of Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to Hops and Brews if you haven't done so already. Link is down in the video description. Drop this video a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of Star Trek Picard. Go over and watch some of John's videos. They are pretty darn good. New video from Craft Computing, hopefully coming out sometime tomorrow, of a new budget build that looks like $1 million. That one's been a lot of fun. And let me say, the cinematography on that video is stellar.
Way better than Wrath of Khan.
Yes. Oh, it tells a cohesive story all the way through, let me tell you. But this has been fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, for hanging out. I know this has been a long episode, but we talked Star Trek. We talked here for an hour and almost 2 hours straight. So.
If you don't know us, come on, give us a break. You know us.
You knew this was coming. Reverend says, did you pour that one out for Ichib?
It's on the floor.
Yeah.
It's empty. It's gone.
Coincidentally, Ichib, the original actor for Ichib, Manu, follows me on Twitter.
Hey,
yeah.
He doesn't follow me, but I follow him. And
that's right.
I saw him flipping some pancakes earlier, so
right.
He's living the life.
Not only that, but last week, Ryan Reynolds and Aisha Tyler both liked one of my tweets.
Well, it's only because,
I gave a shout out to their companies because they're donating 30% of their online proceeds to bartenders who are out of work because I bought their liquor.
Yeah, because I told you to say that. You're welcome.
Yes.
So everyone basically thank me, but Kraft is getting all the credit.
So I have Aviation Gin over there, the Ryan Reynolds Signature Edition with his signature engraved on the bottle, which I paid $5 extra, but it doesn't include anything extra inside the bottle itself. Oh, you want to throw down? Hold on. What does that say right there?
Nothing, because it's not on camera.
Yeah, you don't have that on your bottle.
No, it's not. It could, because yours is not in frame.
Hold on, let me draw the focus in there. There, you see that now?
No, because your frame, the frame is on your face.
Yeah, how's that? Yeah, now you can see it.
Now I can see
I was showing everyone else that it's the Ryan Reynolds Signature Edition bottle. Yeah, you see his signature there? And tomorrow, my order from Passion Spirits, a la Courage and Stone, arrives, which is Aisha Tyler's Old Fashioned and Manhattan, which is a pour over ice and consume cocktail at 80 proof, and I am really looking forward to trying those. Because...
Whoa, what the heck? I save all of my cool stuff for you, and you're not going to save it for...
I'll consider it. I'll save you a snifter.
Oh, okay. Cool. Whatever.
I'll totally save you some. So.
I see how it is.
Anyway, this has been episode 128 on Talking Heads. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next Wednesday. And it'll probably be a shorter show.
Probably.
Later.
See you guys later.